Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox called up top prospect Roman Anthony yesterday. He went 0 for 4 with a walk and an RBI as the Sox lost to the Rays in 11 innings last night, 10-8. Game 2 of that series tonight. Lucas Giolito will start. Sox making some other roster moves yesterday, including placing Wilyer Abreu on the 10-day injured list with a strained oblique. Brad Marchand scored his 4th goal of the Stanley Cup final as the Panthers beat the Oilers last night 6-1. Florida leads the series 2-1. Game 4 will be Thursday night. Bruins will hold a press conference later this morning to officially welcome Marco Sturm as their new head coach. Washington Capitals forward TJ Oshie announced his retirement yesterday. Another off day for the NBA Finals. Pacers and Thunder tied at a game apiece. Game 3 tomorrow night in Indiana. Patriots are back on the practice field for day 2 of mandatory minicamp in Foxborough. Team announcing yesterday they will have players at the facility tomorrow but will not practice on the final day of minicamp. And the Packers yesterday released 2-time Pro Bowl corner Jair Alexander. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
When breaking sports news happens in Boston,
The news this morning, Marco Sturm,
it happens here.
former Bruin, now current Bruins head coach. The hiring made official today.
Boston's home for breaking sports news and your flagship station for the Boston Bruins all year long. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT booting up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that. Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun, having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
See, my eye doctor in there. I wasn't really impressed. Open phones here. 617-254-1030.
It's a Fredless Tuesday, and it'll be a Fredless Wednesday as he is out on his victory tour, Jackson family style, after beating the golf cart yesterday. Much more on that later on this morning. Instead this morning, it's me along with John Wallach, of course, and Ryan Johnston back in studio. Hello, Ryan. Good morning.
What's going on? Good to see you guys in person.
Good to see you. How was the show yesterday? You and Holly in here yesterday?
Strong to quite strong.
Was just the two of you yesterday?
It was.
Wow.
Had to search a little bit before that. Strong. Quite strong.
I was trying to grade my own performance, grade Michael Holly's performance.
Yeah.
You know?
I was listening. Were you listening? I don't know. Well, your commute to Brooklyn was what, 10 minutes?
Well, I
Not
was
far.
I was on the phone with them longer than I got a chance to listen to
Yeah.
them. I was on the
Yeah.
phone with them for about, well, it was like a not even a 10-minute drive, and I was
Yeah.
probably on the phone for 15 minutes before yesterday. But it was a good day yesterday, a long day after a very long weekend. After I had my daughter's graduation on Saturday, which luckily the rain held off during the ceremony. And this was the thing that Fred was confused about. The ceremony for my daughter's high school was outside on the football field. And if it rained, then the event was going to be moved inside, and every student was allowed 4 attendees for the ceremony if it got moved inside. Outside, it's essentially unlimited. There were seats on the field with the graduates where the stage was, but then you have the bleachers on either side of the football field and standing room all around the football field. So, and anybody could show up to graduation outside.
Was there a contingency? Or did they have to make the call beforehand?
Yes.
Or, okay.
They had to.
Because my high school graduation, we had rain in the middle, and we all had to run for cover.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it wasn't good at all.
Mid-ceremony?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Finish your story, and then I'll tell mine.
So, they made the call on Friday. They was going to be outside. And if it were going to be moved inside, 4 per student. And my mom is in town. Marcy's mom lives here. We had other people, attending, and they're just going to have to stay home. My son would have been thrilled had he not been able to attend. But it was a great ceremony. I think all told, it was like an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
Which is great. Great speeches. All the kids were great. But one musical number to get things going, which was, it was really good. Good show. Okay. I was like, all right, this is fine. Yeah, a couple of sprinkles during the ceremony. Great. We go out to lunch afterward, and a group of, 10 of us or something, that we had planned. And the whole time, I should be basking in the glory and the pride of my daughter graduating, and she's got her, various sashes and ribbons on from, this, honor society and that, and this is really great. And all I can do is look outside, and I keep looking at the sky because we had her graduation party the next day on Sunday, and I know all the stuff I have to do at the house to get ready for the party, mostly the lawn. I did all the power washing and everything starting like a week ago, and I split it into blocks, like the front porch and garage one day, and I'm leaving the back deck and all that for another session. And
I have to ask a question here.
Yeah.
Were you more looking forward to doing the lawn or actually having the party?
The lawn and all the prep for it.
But that was more important to you than the actual party.
That's
okay.
That's my commencement.
Yeah. No, I got it.
That's my time to shine.
Sure. Okay.
There are no.
Party's been waiting 18 years for this moment.
You mean I get to do the lawn and power wash something? Sure.
And really get it dolled up. I'm talking about.
Well, wait a minute. You had the mulch down, right?
Mulch was already in.
So if the mulch was already down, can you power wash with the mulch down? I was told that's not the case.
Great question, John, and thank you for asking.
No.
That's why I did the front porch before the mulch in front went down. Now in the back,
there's no mulch in the back.
There's no mulch. Plus, the deck is well off the ground in the back. So that's,
I was a little worried there for a second. All right.
No fear of blowing the mulch out of the beds when you're power washing and all that stuff. It's fine. It's great. It's good.
Okay.
So sitting there during the lunch, I just keep looking at the sky. I'm like, this is not good. This is not good, because it is essentially a 3-tiered process when you're really doing the lawn right. There's some days, and look, I don't need to go to square one stuff here. Not for you fellas, not for you manly men, but there's some days when you just need to knock that grass down, and it's 30, 40-minute job. Well, let's just get it lower. But I am planning on the T. McGee treatment on the lawn. I'm talking about edging. I'm talking about all the really detail-oriented line trimming. Think, Dominican barbershop as opposed to supercuts. I'm going in there, and this is going to take a while.
Are you putting any sort of special designs in the grass?
Oh, yeah. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Another fantastic question.
Really good, RJ.
Yes. Slight little wave, and there's one dip in the lawn. And again, I know there's going to be a tent out there, so it won't even get noticed, but I'll know. I'll know it's there. Slight wave. You want to know why? Because there are no straight lines in nature. And you don't want to necessarily have straight lines in the lawn. Yep. Okay? Just subtle little turns with the mower, and you just keep that pattern going, right? So just all I can look at.
Did you do it the day of?
So the sky, as
don't
we're
jump ahead
sitting
in
there
the
at
story.
lunch.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The sky, as we're sitting there at lunch, it's looking darker and darker. And I'm making sure people eat enough during the entree so no one orders dessert, because I got to get home. Let's go. Oh, boy, you must be full. Wow, you did great work on that, Mom. I didn't think you'd be able to eat an entire tuna melt. Or is that tuna melt anyway? Jesus.
Who eats tuna melts anymore?
83-year-old women.
Oh, my God.
Okay. That's great. Wow. You can really pack it away there for an old broad.
You had a tuna melt. Seriously.
So, yeah, this is great. This is great. Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. We get home, and I am, I had dressed nicely for that. I am upstairs and into my yard clothes before people are even out of the car. I am ready, and I'm going to start this lawn Saturday afternoon. Go out, fire up the line trimmer, because I am a whack, mow, blow guy. That's my order. Some people, they like to mow, whack, blow. There are some people who like to whack, blow, mow.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
you got to get all the clippings down before you blow, right? They got to be loose before you blow, right?
Well, if you whack and then you blow the clippings back on the lawn, then you mow, and then the catcher gets up all the clippings.
But you're playing with fire there. You're never really quite sure.
I go whack, mow, blow. Okay, so I get the line trimmer out. The second I get the choke set and I get that thing fired, I feel the first drops. So I start. I start anyway. By the time I get done with the line trimming, it is raining. It's not sprinkling. It's not like, oh, you can get this done in the rain. It is raining on me. And I get it done just because I need to get it done. And I'm just beside myself. I'm just sitting inside fuming because I didn't get a chance to mow, which meant I had to mow first thing Sunday morning. I waited until 9 a.m.,
Got to do that,
I mean, for the neighbors, on a normal Sunday, I'd wait till 10 or 11, but I'm like, there's no waiting on
9 it's an unwritten rule, right? There are no laws per se, but unless you live in Newton. But 9 a.m., is that the preferred starting time, do you think?
I think it's even later on the weekends.
I think 9's acceptable.
I got a guy in my neighborhood that starts at 8.
That's too early.
8's too
I got a
early.
guy, now he lives about a block away, but you can still hear it at that time in the morning. He starts at 8 in the morning on Saturday.
Now,
that's just wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But the thing is, it's not like a siren going off. You're an a-hole if you go over and complain. But 8 in the morning is just not good.
It's too early.
Yeah.
Now, I can't get the tent or the tables or any chairs or anything out until I cut
Right.
Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. So I cut. Acceptable job. I'm happy with it. Now I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, holy crap! It's almost 10. The party is supposed to start at 11 a.m.
Oh,
all right.
Tight timeline here.
I borrowed a tent from a neighbor, a 10 by 20 pop-up tent, essentially like a tailgate tent, but bigger.
Yeah.
I grabbed my son to help me with it. We're not getting it done. My daughter is trying to get ready for her own graduation party. Katie, can you come out here, please, and help us?
Oh, that's bad.
Do I have to? Yes, you have to. Now it's 10:02. It's not going up. I call my neighbor sheepishly, defeated. I'm like, Roger, dude, I need help with this tent. He comes over. As we're putting it up, I hear 2 big snaps on my end. I bust the crap out of this thing. The aluminum frame on this thing, I'm pushing too hard. I'm pushing in the wrong direction. Snap, snap, snap.
Oh, man.
So already I'm just seeing dollar signs of the tent that I'm going to have to buy to replace this one. That it doesn't even belong to him, belongs to his sister. So it's even worse.
He's subletting you the tent?
Wow. We're out there with Gorilla Tape. We're up there just trying to get this thing so that it will. Meanwhile, I'm rolling tables out there. I'm putting up the chairs. By the time it was all said and done, it got all set up and looked fine. 12, it looked fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have noticed if you hadn't pointed it out.
All right. Yeah. But just know that it...
How did the lawn look? Did you notice?
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Thank you.
Phenomenal.
But it also
Good
meant
answer.
that I was in the shower when people were arriving. Not the first person. Oh, I barely made it out. Oh, no. I was still getting, all kinds of stuff off me as people were in the home and the party had started. All because of that frickin' rain on Saturday.
And is that so that's why now I understand why. Because when I showed up around 11:30 or so, you got blood flying out of the side of your head.
Yeah, I had nicked my ear on when I was again
because you were in a hurry. Now I understand.
But I was trying to do the super mow, right? And got way down too close to the tree line at the bottom of the yard and got clipped with one of these devil trees with the big thorns on it. And then I nicked the same place again with a razor because I was shaving too fast. And I lost a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Okay? A lot of blood.
Whoa.
Lost a lot of blood.
I roll up and I'm like, hey, buddy. And I see he's got this. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, I think you're going to need a Band-Aid for that.
Yeah. I ended up putting a Band-Aid on my ear
that,
for the first hour of the party.
Dripping blood down your ear.
Good Lord.
So that was that. That was the graduation.
But the party
weekend.
went off without a
It was
hitch.
fine.
No one noticed.
It was fine.
It was just
It was
the
good.
preparation was.
It was good.
It was good. And the graduation went off without a hitch as well.
That's fantastic.
No problem.
Kids did a great job.
Good.
You got yours moved inside
Okay.
in the middle of the ceremony.
Yeah, Lexington High School is on the football field, and
This is your graduation?
This is my graduation back when the world was flat.
So G. Gordon Liddy was the commencement speaker.
Actually, we had
The film was in black and white.
That's right. we lived in Pleasantville. We had one of the Kennedys. Not any Kennedy of note.
John F.
Could have been John F. Could have been RF. Could have been John F. But we were
tried to get Bobby, but he was only 15 years old.
So we were sitting in the middle of the football field. Parents are in the bleachers. The podium's right in front of the bleachers. We could see a storm front rolling in behind everybody. And we're trying to get somebody's attention. It doesn't happen. All of a sudden, thunder and lightning. And we all had to get out of our chairs and run to a field house, which is about 150 yards behind us. So all of us in caps and gowns run into the field house, and we wait for an hour. We wait for an hour inside. Rain goes by. We all walk back out in our good clothes, through puddles and stuff, sit down and get in wet chairs, and then the heavens open up again. It took us 3.5 hours to get the thing done. And the worst part about it is it's alphabetical, and we had 550 people in our class. Wow. So it took me 3 hours to get my diploma that day. And I got it indoors after it started raining again.
Did everybody who was attending have to go into the same place?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
The field house, we're all standing. There are no bleachers in the field house. It's like a bubble with a basketball court and like a track around it. And all of us are kind of standing
Medicine
around.
balls.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's the problem is back when John graduated, there was no such thing as weather prognostication.
That's
so
right.
they had no way of telling there was a storm coming.
We had Bruce Schwegler, and he was wrong most of the time.
Yeah, the science teacher running over and consulting the Farmer's Almanac. Wait a second. Not supposed to be doing this today.
Licking his thumb, putting it up in the air.
3.5 hours to get my diploma that day.
You got a game of kickball going while you were in there?
Yeah, we had one of those machines with the rubber band that goes around you that shakes you a while to get you in shape.
Yeah. What high school did you go to?
Lexington.
Where'd you go, RJ?
I went to high school out in the Chicago area.
Oh, that's right.
My high school had graduation. I went to a high school that had about 2,500 kids.
Yeah.
So my graduating class was close to 700.
Yeah,
we
had
God.
2,000. That's
so
right. Yeah.
ours was on the football field, but they had to, contingency was, if it rains, we'll have it in the gym. But then they have to split it into two separate ceremonies because there's just not the gym wasn't big enough to hold everybody.
Okay.
So even with the football stadium, we got 6 tickets apiece. No more than that. Everybody was entitled to 6 tickets, and if you needed more, then you had to horse trade with somebody,
right?
Who wasn't using theirs. My mom.
It's a Cosby Show episode. Jesus.
My mom. This was after I had graduated, but my mom worked at my high school. She worked in the library for a little while, and then she was the administrative assistant for the activities office, who handled the distribution of the graduation tickets.
Oh, very nice.
So that happened after I had graduated, but my sisters, could have potentially gotten some extra tickets. But my mom was above that. We're playing by the rules.
A woman of principle.
But the first year she was doing this, she's getting calls from people who are trying to score more tickets, and she's just turning them away one after another. And she's, comes home complaining. It's like these people are calling up all day trying to get, why can't I have more than 6 tickets? I've got 20 people coming. It's like we don't have room for everybody. So she's just, basically hanging up on all these people. So my dad goes to one of his buddies at work and has him call my mom's office as a ticket broker who's looking to buy some extra tickets. So he calls up and he asks for the woman who used to have the job, who had retired.
Sure.
My mom took over the job. So he calls and asks for this woman, Ellie. And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Ellie retired last year. So, something I can help you with." And he says, "Well, Ellie and I used to have this arrangement where she would put aside some extra tickets for me, couple hundred, and we would split the profits of those, but selling them to people who need extra tickets.
Come on.
And my mom's like, I was shaking. I was like, I can't believe this guy. Like, this guy is, trying to scam these graduations, these high school graduation tickets. And it was a hot ticket. I mean, it was like, if 6 people's not a lot of people when you're talking about a high school graduation. And the alternative
kids.
is you bring lawn chairs and you sit out in the parking lot with, all the other people who couldn't get in.
This is a Cosby
How
show
much?
episode.
How much were? I mean, let's say this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
30, but yeah,
I'm
sure.
just giving you the benefit of the doubt. How much were they going for?
They weren't. I mean, it was just,
just
this was
tickets.
completely made up.
Oh,
It
this
was,
okay. This was just it never got put into practice.
right. Yeah, no,
Okay.
this was just like I'm sure somebody probably sold their tickets, but it wasn't like on the open market. So yeah, my dad has this guy call up, kind of making up this story about how we used to, she used to make a lot of money, and he starts being like the sexist pig too, and he's I'm sure there's probably some nice jewelry or nice dress that you'd like to get, we can take care of that, she's like, she ended up hanging up the phone and like walked right into her boss, like, you won't believe what the phone call I just got, and then realized, because my dad pulls stuff like that all the time, like, oh, it's probably him, and she calls him up and she's like, if this is you're a dead man, basically.
Kind of wish it was. Yeah, would have made it even better. Well, we're gonna get into what happened last night. We're gonna be joined by Mike Dussault a little bit later on. He's gonna tell us what's going on there at Gillette Stadium. We will be talking about the Red Sox. Big news yesterday, and a fair amount of hockey action from last night. So. All of it happening this morning here on Toucher and Hardy. And as you heard Gary Tangway say at the beginning, for a totally different show, yes, the phone lines are open, 617-779-0985.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
What happened last night? Brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happens. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. What did happen last night?
Let's start with the Red Sox. They opened up a 3-game series with Tampa Bay. The bigger story during the late afternoon when the team called up the top prospect in Major League Baseball, outfielder Roman Anthony. He just hit a 494-foot grand slam for AAA Worcester over the weekend in 58 games for the Woo Sox, hitting .288 with 10 home runs. Now, Anthony found out shortly before his team headed out to Lehigh Valley in rural Pennsylvania, and apparently his bags were already on the bus. So he had to borrow cleats and a bat before hopping in his car and driving inbound on the Mass Pike during rush hour just to get the ball.
It was great. There wasn't too much traffic. It was nice. I got to just kind of get here as quick as I could, and obviously a little bit of a short notice, but better than being on the bus to Lehigh Valley right now.
They couldn't pull his bag off the bus
Apparently
before they rolled out?
Oh, Ryan, it was way in there. They had put his bag in there first. They'd have to take like 3 or 4 other bags out just to get to his. Plus, it's like a double.
Kind of a big day for this guy. Maybe he'd like his cleats in his glove,
No, because there's another reason, too. The same keys that unlock the thing underneath the bus are the same keys in the ignition, and the bus is already running. You got to turn the bus off. The AC goes off. It's a whole thing.
If I get on a commercial airliner today and then decide I need to get off before the thing leaves, they will take my bag off there for me.
Sometimes.
Doesn't even have have like a big number on the side to indicate that it's mine.
Yeah, that's a 50-50 proposition. I've tried to fly to Atlanta, and my bag's gone to Puerto Rico sometimes.
This is the number one prospect in all of baseball. Just use whatever they can give you when you get there.
Not enough money at AAA to afford the personnel to reach in there and get it, apparently.
That is true.
So what was the time again on this when he found out?
He found out like 3:30 in the afternoon, something like that, and then hopped in the car at 4 or 4:15 to drive into Boston.
Okay, so these guys, and I don't know when Cora gets to the park. Francona used to get there like at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, Cora's an early guy. I don't think Francona was psycho. He was there like 8 hours before first pitch.
Did they not know before 3 or 4 o'clock?
Apparently, this Wilyer Abreu thing cropped up, and they didn't know until he got to the ballpark that he couldn't go. That's their excuse. Abreu has an oblique injury.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it wasn't an oblique injury. I have a feeling that they succumbed to pressure to call this kid up because their season is spinning out of control.
You think they would invent something like that?
You're right.
Yeah, right.
Silly me. Yeah. Why would I think anything like that?
How dare you?
All right, so Marcelo Myers very happy for his former, now current teammate.
We're excited for him. Like you said, I know the person that he is, the work that he puts in every single day. We've had a lot of these talks throughout the year, so I'm super excited for him and his family.
This wasn't even a Red Sox story. I mean, this was a huge deal across Major League Baseball. ESPN had it on the Chiron. As you watch ESPN News, you see top prospect in baseball called up, and it was crazy that it got so much attention, but it did. And the lineup, which had Cedar Rafaela playing right field and Christian Campbell playing center field, got altered. So Roman Anthony in the lineup hitting fifth, playing right field. By the way, a position he only played 4 times during the season for the Worcester Red Sox.
Big spot.
Yeah.
Just setting this guy up for success all over the place.
Well, you could have been him 8th, 9th. No, you're going 5th.
Well, think about
borrowing shoes from the guy in the 3rd row.
Think about this. You call up Marcelo Meyer. Do you have him play his normal position? No, you put him at third base. You call up Christian Campbell. Christian Campbell makes the team out of spring training. He's been a second baseman. So we're going to play him at second. We're going to play him in center. We're going to play him in left. We're going to have him take grounders at first. I'd say this is right in line with what the Red Sox have done the entire season.
Your top prospects, you're waiting for just the right time. We're not going to call this guy up because we don't want to call him up too early. We don't want him bouncing up and down. We want it. And then, this is how they do it. It's such a slapdash organization that they've got going there. They can't even get this right.
Meanwhile, Wonder Boy is in the trombone case underneath the bus. They can't even pull that out for him.
I know. So, remember I told you.
Get every player off that bus. Everybody dig a bag out of there until you find Roman's. He's going up to the show.
Yeah, his car is running. Maybe put some speed on it. Just hurry up, get the bag out. I mean, how long a drive? It's a long drive to Pennsylvania too. I don't think the players would be too excited to go. Oh yeah, we'll wait a couple extra seconds.
It was an off day for them too. They didn't. It's not like they had to we got to get going or we're going to miss first pitch. No, your first pitch is tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we can hold off on the 8-hour bus ride until we get Roman's bag off the bus. So remember I told you that Roman Anthony had played right field only 4 times?
Yeah.
Okay. The game yesterday, let's get to the actual game. It was 2025 Red Sox personified. Jarren Duran tried to field a base hit to left and throw the ball home, but he dropped it. That allowed a run to score. They fell behind 2-0. Let's get to Roman Anthony now. Roman Anthony didn't commit an error in 58 games in the outfield of AAA this season.
Yandy Diaz with a clean single to right.
Oh, baby.
And Roman Anthony, in his first game at Fenway Park, makes an enormous error to make it 3-0 Rays and Yandy Diaz to third.
My God, they're infecting him. No errors in 58 games. And he played left, center, and right. First game at Fenway Park. Guy hits a clean single. This wasn't a tough play either. Guy hit a clean single to right. Roman Anthony put his glove down and missed it. It was like every Little League game you've ever attended in your life. The ball rolls behind him, rolls all the way to the warning track. People score. Tampa is up 3-0. However, you have to give the Red Sox credit. They battled back. They tied the game at 3, only to fall behind again, 6-3. As I said, this is pretty much going the way the season has gone for them. They were down 7-5 entering the bottom of the 9th inning. Roman Anthony steps up with runners on second and third, down 2.
Swinging a ground ball up the middle, scooped up by Walls and get the out as the run scores. 2 down. Anthony will pick up an RBI there, his first Major League RBI as he drives in Rafi Devers.
First Major League RBI for Roman Anthony. He wound up 0 for 4 with a walk and that RBI ground out in his Major League debut. That made it 7-6, and then the Red Sox pulled even.
High chopper on the infield, going to be trouble. Throw to first, safe, and a run comes in to score.
All right, Dave O'Brien goes nuts. It's 7-7, and they were literally down to their last strike in the bottom of the 9th. This is exciting. This is exciting baseball for a team that's under 500 and has absolutely nothing to play for. But good for them. 7-7 heading to extra innings. Tampa goes up 8-7 in the top of the 10th. Once again, Red Sox down to their last out in the bottom of the 10th inning.
Ground ball at first. Little bobble there. Throw to first base. Threw it away. Here comes the run. Sanon is in to score. Tampa Bay throwing it away. It's 8-8.
Okay, I don't know if you guys saw this. I don't know if anyone saw this, but when Ceddanne Rafaela scored, he took his helmet off and then made a U-turn to go toward first base. He thought the game was over. This is your baseball team. I don't care what they say. He thought he had just scored the winning run.
He got confused.
Saw he hadn't, and kind of veered off to the right and went into the dugout. Just so everyone understands this.
Remember how everybody thought this team was going to be really good?
Oh, my God. They do so many things wrong.
Penciling in for the ALCS.
They do so many things wrong on a daily basis. They had 5 pitchers pitch last night. All of them gave up at least 1 earned run. They had 2 more errors. Brendan Bernardino, who pitches every day, threw a pickoff to second base into center field to set up another run. They do this every single night.
Chapman didn't have an earned run last night.
All right, fair enough. But I got to be honest.
Leave him out of it.
Okay, he's actually been very good.
He's
for the most
been
part.
good,
and that's one in the win column for Craig Breslow. Okay, to the game now. 8-8 now. Red Sox theoretically still with a chance. We head to the 11th inning.
Slow chopper, and they can't get it out of the glove. Roman Gonzalez had it stick to the mitt, and in to score is Josh Lowe, and the Rays back to a 2-run lead, 10-8.
Tampa scores twice to make it 10-8. Red Sox had runners on first and second in the bottom of the 11th inning. Could not score. They lost 10-8. Alex Cora, for good measure, thrown out of the game in the 11th inning for arguing with a 3-2 pitch that was clearly low for ball 4 that would have loaded the bases. Whatever. Bad fielding, lack of situational hitting, and runners in scoring position. And guess what? Red Sox won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees over the weekend. Everyone's like, wow, they just beat Carlos Rodon on Sunday night. They won 11-7. Maybe they're back. They're not back.
No, they're
not back. They're 4 games under 500 again. They play Tampa again tonight.
So it was unfortunate for Gonzalez to have that happen at the end of the game because he is responsible for one of the hits that tied the game early on and made it 3-3 when they brought him into pinch hit, I believe.
For Marcelo Mayer.
For Meyer.
Sorry, Meyer. You're
I know.
right.
I'm going to do it all season.
No,
John.
Meyer's fine. I got it wrong.
And that was after Roman Anthony got, I think it was a called third strike.
Yes.
He got fooled on one that looked like it was coming inside. And
it was a lefty. They brought in a lefty to face him. He threw a ball at him that broke over the plate for strike 3.
It was a nice pitch.
Yeah.
But it's also a pitch that I'm sure he would like back because it wasn't that nasty. So, again, not necessarily any one of these guys flat out suck all of the time. They are capable of moments that make you think, if you just not even eliminate the suck, eliminate the mistakes.
Yeah.
Like the boneheadedness.
But they do it. They've done it every night all season long. If you're a Red Sox fan, and Fred has said this on multiple occasions, just throw this season away. They're not going anywhere. What you want is you want to see the kids. Well, congratulations. All 3 of them are up. They hit back-to-back-to-back in the order last night. Anthony hit 5th, Myers 6th, Campbell 7th. They're all 22, 21 years old. You have Rafaela, who's up now. I mean, Duran was the All-Star Game MVP. He's a young kid who's going to hit leadoff for you for a while if you decide to re-sign him. The kids are all here, and that's what everyone's been screaming for years. They're all starting. They're all playing. They're all going to get a lot of time. Enjoy this. If you're a Red Sox fan, that's what you have to look at now.
Yep. So, as you already said, John, Roman Anthony called up 0 for 4 last night. Christian Campbell 1 for 5. How many at-bats did Meyer end up having?
I think it was
2?
Three before they pinch hit for him. Turned out to be a good move.
Yes.
Romy Gonzalez, a big double down the line to score a couple of runs. So, ultimately, though, if you're Alex Cora and you're the Red Sox, and the deeper you get into this season, you can't pitch hit these kids against lefties. Just let them play. Just let them play. If they make mistakes, they make mistakes. But the sooner they make these mistakes, the sooner they'll get over them, and the sooner they'll be of value and big run producers and value to your team for a team that can actually win. And that's what you do. You re-sign Rafaela to a long-term contract. Bayo didn't look bad last night when he started. He went into the 7th inning. So these are your young kids. This is the core of your team to move forward. All of them are relatively cheap now. Just let them go.
I wonder if that's part of the plan for Roman Anthony is to not give him a ton of notice. Like they purposely waited until the last minute so he wouldn't be thinking about it for a day or, I don't know, even 8 hours before he had to.
It's not as though he wasn't expecting it. I mean, the guy was tearing up AAA. He was like, oh, my God, I never thought this was going to happen.
I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that they didn't even have time to get his bag off the bus.
I've been completely blindsided by this. Yeah, the bag thing is remarkable.
That's great.
Yeah, bag things in Pennsylvania, Roman. Even though the bus is here, we can't get it for you.
All right, we had another Stanley Cup final game last night, and I assume we'll get to that next after Ryan Johnston gives us the headlines here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox dropped Game 1 of their series against the Rays last night at Fenway, 10-8 in 11 innings. Game 2 of that series is tonight. Roman Anthony called up from Worcester yesterday, 0 for 4 with a walk and an RBI. Lucas Giolito gets the start tonight. Brad Marchand with his 4th goal of the Stanley Cup final. Panthers beat the Oilers 6-1 last night. Florida leads that series 2-1. Game 4 will be Thursday. The Bruins, meanwhile, will hold their press conference at 11 o'clock this morning to officially welcome Marco Sturm as their new head coach. Another day off for the NBA Finals. Game 3 tomorrow night in Indiana. Pacers and Thunder are tied at a game apiece. And it's the second day of practice for the Patriots mandatory minicamp. They announced yesterday they will not have a third day of practice. They will have the players at the facility tomorrow, but will not take part in official duties on the field. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning. day or night and always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines at 7 o'clock.
Stay tuned for more Toucher. Or of Todger and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
Game. I meant to ask Ryan, what is your take on scenic Sunrise, Florida? I've been there. Hardy's been there. We've all been there, but is it really as bad as we seem to think it is? Is there only a mall across the street and that's it? From the hockey rink?
I've never been anywhere in Sunrise, Florida other than the arena
but
because we stay like a half hour away.
Oh, you stay in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
That's right. But, I mean, the area around the arena is just a mall and that's it. Yeah.
There's nothing.
Which
is why we stay in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever been in the city limits of Sunrise or the township or the incorporated town that is Sunrise, Florida. I don't know.
West of that is the Everglades, correct? As you go inland?
Sure.
Okay, good. Okay, fine. All right.
You can stand outside the arena and look around and not see really much of anything.
Okay, very good. Okay, so Game 3 took place in that desolate area last night. Panthers hosted Edmonton, even at a game apiece. Brad Marchand scored twice in Game 2, and that includes the game winner in double overtime on a breakaway, and then they dropped the puck for Game 3.
And to our right inside the Edmonton zone, it's Klingberg. A battle for a loose puck. Panthers have it. Reinhardt, a shot, he scores!
That's the wrong one, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
That's the wrong one. Let's try this one.
Off a face-off, Anton Lundell behind the net in the offensive end. And he bounces one out front. This one loose. Marchand shot, he scores! And the Panthers are on the board early. Brad Marchand out of the left circle. 56 seconds in. He pounced on a loose puck, and he cashes in. 1-0 Panthers.
3 goals in the first 3 games of a Stanley Cup final. He is the oldest player in
4
NHL
goals.
history.
4 goals.
4 goals, but he scored goals in the first 3 games. My mistake.
You said 3 goals.
I'm very sorry.
Okay.
4
you don't
goals.
have to jump all over him.
4 goals.
He got a little
first
tiny
3
mistake.
Games of the Stanley Cup final. Sorry, RJ.
Shazali.
He is the oldest player in NHL history to do that at the age of 37. So he's got that in his back pocket. Marchand had that 1 goal last night, and Sam Reinhart. And this is what I was going to play earlier.
And to our right inside the Edmonton zone, it's Klingberg. A battle for a loose puck. Panthers have it. Reinhardt, a shot, he scores! Out of the far circle, off the iron and in. Sam Reinhart gets the Panthers up by a pair once again. Exactly 3 minutes into period number 2. 3-1 Panthers. Sam Reinhart.
Okay, how old is this guy, Hardy? You're not Hardy. You're RJ. How old is this guy?
Who are you talking
Sam
about?
Reinhart.
The play-by-play.
Fairly young guy.
Okay, he sounds like he's 60 and has been smoking cigarettes.
Yeah,
for
no,
his entire life.
He's probably younger than me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like he's all hopped up on 25 glasses of soda.
Yeah, I know. God, he'd be a better man for it. Panthers off and running. That made it 3-1. Connor McDavid, in a scary moment for the National Hockey League, took a big hit from Aaron Ekblad in the second period, had to leave the game, but he did come back in. And it's a good thing he did because he came back in to watch a rarity in a Stanley Cup final game, a line brawl. Did you see this, Ryan, last night?
Yeah.
A line brawl. Florida's chipping.
The reason that I stayed up to watch the third period was like, all right, this game is over, but it's not because things are going to get nasty.
Trent Frederick, who knows a thing or two about playing the Panthers in the playoffs, cross-checked Sam Bennett to the ice, and that touched off a line brawl in the third period of a Stanley Cup Finals game with things out of hand and 9 minutes left. The ref wind up, and I think Frederick broke his stick on Bennett. Both guys go down. The ref is on top of Frederick. Bennett gets on top of both guys and starts throwing punches before anyone could take him off. 35 penalties, 35 of them called in this game, 7 game misconducts during that incident. Florida won the game 6-1. They now lead the series 2-1, but as a Bruins fan, it's very interesting to watch the Panthers crawl inside another team's head with everything on the line and completely take them out of their game.
Yeah. They were squirting water at each other. I mean, that's what it devolved into last night. If you saw it, I think it was in the later stages of the second period. Wallman from the Oilers is going toward the bench, gets tangled up. One of the Panthers pulls his glove off of him and throws it into the Florida bench. That's right. He obviously wants it back, so they heave it out onto the ice. So he grabs the water bottle off the bench and starts squirting it over Brian Boucher, who's between the benches. He's just squirting like a stream of water onto the Florida bench. The Florida guys are looking at the ref like, is he allowed to do that?
Water. Boy, you showed him a thing or two there.
So Edmonton is, and I'm sure they talked about this ahead of time. You can't let these guys get inside your head. You can't unravel. You can't become unhinged based on what Florida is going to do to you. What happened last night?
That's exactly what happened.
And again, the game's out of hand. And afterward, both the coach and one of the players spoke about it afterward. I don't know if you have it, John, but said, look, the game was over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we lost it a little bit. Boys being boys is essentially what was said, or maybe that was the exact quote. But
I mean, these teams have played 10 Stanley Cup final games against each other in the last, calendar year. They're a little sick of each other at this point.
How do you not, and as a core, as like a collective for Edmonton, not realize this is exactly what they want us to do, to become unhinged and start taking penalties at every single turn? How many power plays did Florida end up with last night, John? 11?
11, I think.
Yeah, they were 3 for 11.
They went on the power play 11 times.
There were 17
last night.
total power plays in the game.
35 penalties. I mean, when was the last time there were 35 penalties called in any NHL game?
Much less a cup final.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The way the NHL has been, they're trying to tone things down. They trying their best to get fighting out of the game. 35 penalties in a Stanley Cup Finals game, and Edmonton, an incredibly skilled team, completely lost it. Good for Florida. This is what they do. This is exactly the game plan for Florida. And if you're a Bruins fan, you've seen it the last few years. This is what the Bruins struggled with.
And them making the trade for Marchand. Well, at the beginning of this series, Kendra was in here. We talked about it. Marchand was plus 5,000 to end up being the Cup final MVP for the Conn Smythe.
If the season ended, if the Cup Finals ended today, he'd be it.
It's probably Sam Bennett.
You think Bennett?
Yeah. Because it's not the final MVP; it's the playoffs MVP.
Right.
I was just saying 4 goals in 3 3 Stanley Cup Finals games.
That's not what you were saying, but
I'm saying it now. I'm so sorry I made that mistake.
Okay, you're going to have to let it go, Ryan, because
Seriously.
That's twice now.
Well, no, he's not going to he's going to misrepresent what he said.
Jesus. All right. Ryan, if it makes you feel better, you win. Congratulations.
Sam Bennett has 14 goals in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right now. So
but there's a recency bias when it comes to that trophy in particular.
If Marchand ends up with a goal in every game and they win the cup, then he's definitely. So I looked it up this morning. He's plus 400. He's the third best odds right now behind Bennett and McDavid.
So what a move for Florida. I mean, they didn't necessarily need him, but what he has added to that team, it's been vital, especially in the first 3 games of this series.
Well, especially when guys like Barkov hasn't done anything in the series.
The third line that Marchand skates on, that's arguably the best line during not only this series but in the playoffs for them.
So, when do they play Game 4?
Not till Thursday. They play Thursday. Why they take 2 days off, I don't know. Explain that to me. Why do we have to wait until Thursday?
So apparently this was part of the new TV contracts that Turner wanted to space it out a little bit more, and obviously they're also avoiding conflict against the NBA finals on the same night. Yeah. So the NBA, they've basically taken on a more NBA-like schedule, having, 2 days between some of the games as opposed to 1.
That's the thing. The NBA, they played Sunday night. They don't play again until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right.
That again, making no sense at all. So we have nothing this evening.
Yeah.
So game 4 of this series is tomorrow. Game 5 would be Saturday night, and then Game 6 would be Tuesday. So there's another 2 days off in between, which I get. Edmonton to Florida is not exactly a quick trip. So when you have travel,
I don't mind the built-in day when you're moving cities.
Right.
I don't get it for the NBA who had the extra built-in day when they didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, well, right now the 2 teams are sitting in Florida for an extra day.
Right.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Yesterday was the Who's Your Caddy Classic at Brook Meadow Country Club there in Canton. And before the actual golf happened, the real competition of the day, Fred v. Golf Cart. We'll tell you how it unfolded and what happened next here on Toucher and Hardy.
Tire Studios. Sample UPC FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox called up top prospect Roman Anthony yesterday, playing in somebody else's cleats and with a glove that he had never used before. He went 0 for 4 with a walk and an RBI, made an error. Sox lost to the Rays in 11 innings last night, 10-8. Game 2 of that series is tonight. Lucas Giolito on the mound. Brad Marchand scored his 4th goal of the Stanley Cup final as the Panthers beat the Oilers 6-1 last night, take a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 of that set is Thursday night. Bruins will hold a press conference later this morning, officially welcoming Marco Sturm as their new head coach. Washington Capitals forward TJ Oshie announced his retirement yesterday after a 16-year career. Another off day for the NBA Finals. Pacers and Thunder tied at a game apiece with Game 3 set for tomorrow night in Indiana. The Patriots are back on the practice field for Day 2 of mandatory minicamp in Foxborough today. Yesterday, the team announced the players will be at the facility tomorrow, but they won't practice for the final day of minicamp. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Charlie McAvoy, and Tuukka Rask. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston Soap for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
Here we go. Boom. I win. Kaboom. Yeah.
Hit somebody. Oh. We've got a passion for Boston sports. Get angry. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Is elongating.
Weekday mornings.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
We're moments before the big race. Tension. The air is thick with tension. All I know is I don't have to run. I'm riding in the golf cart, and my prediction is
Your bags have to be
Nick gets hurt, not Fred.
I think that this is going to be underwhelming. I feel that if the cart beats me, I don't care. If I beat the cart, I don't care. A lot on the line, Nick. And by that, I mean there's nothing on the line.
The latest betting odds are cart minus 500.
Oh, his pants are going to fall down if he beats me. I barely beat Nick.
Oh, man.
At the 14th annual Who's Your Caddy Sports Hub, Who's Your Caddy Classic 15. I don't know. I thought we had anniversary hats. I didn't get one. I didn't get a hat. Ran out of hats.
Yeah, they had hats in those little bags they were giving out.
Did you get a hat?
No, my wife, who was there yesterday, got a hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your wife was there yesterday?
Yes, she actually bought a foursome and played.
Yeah, we'll get to that one too, Ryan. But before the actual event, this is something we had talked about. Somebody asked me, how did this start in the first place? How did this come to be, this whole Fred being able to beat a golf cart? I said, I don't know. I don't know where the conversation started. And I'm gonna state this right now, and I will state it again in the middle and again at the end. I will not take anything away from Fred, okay? Mm-hmm. I still, in my mind, have this notion that the person versus a golf cart in any kind of a distance, initially it was going to be a 100-yard dash. Mm-hmm. And
Fred shortened it to 40.
And I don't blame him, but I still thought the cart was going to win easily. Instead, it was the other way around.
Start was everything.
Both Fred and Nick beat the cart easily. Nicholas Gemelli joining us now in studio. So, Nick, going over the video yesterday, one thing popped out to me is that you had a tremendous start off the starting line.
Yeah, I did. I was watching. I saw that too, and I was convinced I was in a good place, that I was going to win.
Were you nervous before the race? You heard Fred there, who was downplaying the entire event. He said he didn't care if he won. He didn't care if he lost. He couldn't imagine why anybody would care. He was really just trying to take the attention away from all of it. Do you think that was a defense mechanism on his part? And did you, in fact, care about the event?
Well, he wasn't convinced it was actually going to happen. I wasn't convinced because people were asking me questions and nothing was planned as of yet.
Right.
And so.
Well, wait a minute. We all showed up to the golf course at
John, 5 people came up to me and was like, "Is this happening?"
All you
Even
had to
like
do
management
was
was
look.
like,
Wait
"Is
a
this
minute.
going to happen?"
All you had to do was look at the first fairway. I showed up, looked on the fairway. There is a golf cart sitting in the middle of the fairway with 40 yards paced out. All you do is like show up on the back patio and look.
In Nick's defense, none of this was planned ahead of time. When I got to the golf course, I spoke with Craig, whose family is owned Brookmeadow for I don't know for how long, but they're great.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, we can do that." And then the head pro there, Christian, is like, "Yeah, we can do that." Like it didn't require weeks and weeks of planning to begin with. They pulled a cart out, and he asked me. He said, "Do you want a range cart, one that really, really moves?"
What did you say?
I said no. I said just any cart will do. It doesn't matter. Just pull one out of the barn. One that's we're using here today. It doesn't matter. Fine. And again, I said I'll just go out and pace 40 yards. And Christian, the pro, is like, no, we'll do this right. He got a couple of stakes. He went out there, got out the Bushnell, actually shot the number, so it was exactly 40 yards. Moved it a tiny little bit, so the distance was all correct. Had us all lined up and ready to go. So once it was all lined up, you knew it was going to happen.
It was going to happen. Yeah. So,
all right. So a couple of things. We're announcing, Tony's making his announcements before the tournament yesterday, and the Juice Foundation, Jaylen Brown's charity and charitable the organization, whatever, they were the beneficiary yesterday. Jaylen Brown's mom was there, who was just a wonderful woman to talk to. She spoke at the banquet afterward, Michelle Brown, and they were great. So everyone's doing their speeches, and then it was like, oh, hold on, we got to do this race. So as we're trying to make the announcement about the race, Fred is way on the other side of the tee box. My cart with my crew, we're set to go off to a different part of the golf course than him, and he's yelling at me. He's yelling at me from across the tee box. I'm like, Jesus, what?
you can kind of hear it in the video.
Yeah. So I go over there and I get closer to him and find out he said there needs to be bags on the cart.
I don't remember agreeing to that.
I don't remember that either.
I don't remember. I mean, I know it happened, but I took my bag out, you took your bag out and put it on the cart, but I don't remember agreeing to there being bags on the cart.
No, but who cares?
Okay.
I still thought this was not going to be any kind of a competition. Now, you've played a lot of golf, John.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, you've played.
Mm-hmm.
And just on a normal dry fairway golf cart, you hit it. Do you think that most people would be able to beat that golf cart in a foot race?
Michael Holly and I broke this down in depth yesterday.
Oh.
I think it depends a great deal on electric versus gas golf cart. I think it depends on how the governor is set on those golf carts. Different courses, those carts move or they don't. This is what I was concerned about. When you put up 5-1 odds against Holly yesterday, I'm like, you could press on that gas, and it takes a couple of seconds before the cart even starts rolling.
Okay, and Holly, coward that he is, took no action on that.
Yeah.
I gave Holly specifically 5-1 odds. I said, you just text me the amount you want to bet before the race. As soon as we hang up, text me the amount. I'll honor the bet. I said, keep it friendly. I don't want to take too much of your money, right? Is how I phrased it to him. So it was all on him to place the bet, and he didn't do it. So you may have been convinced. I don't think Michael Holly was convinced. I think he's a lot of huffing and puffing is what I think about that guy. He didn't really believe it. But the golf cart itself,
it mattered. It mattered whether it was an electric or gas. It mattered greatly, Ryan.
Which one's faster? I don't know.
Gas is fast. Gas is always faster.
Gas is faster, and
but
when
not from the jump. You ever been in a Tesla, an electric car? Those things zip.
Well, I haven't been to this particular country club, but are they riding around in Tesla golf carts?
No, they are not. All I know is that the ground, and this was for safety's sake, I didn't want it to be on slick, short fairway grass. Said, let's do it, here in this rough area in between the first tee and the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
So that was for safety. I think that hurt the cart a little bit.
When I was sitting right next to you, when you hit the accelerator, what happened?
It barely moved.
Yes. The start was everything in this race. Away went Nick and Fred. Hardy and I are sitting in the golf cart. Hardy floors the golf cart. We go nowhere for about a second, and that made all the difference in the world.
This was part of my analysis yesterday as well.
Exactly.
That if, in a short distance 40-yard race, if this were a 100-yard dash, that golf cart blows him away.
I tell you, it was such a bad beat. I'm starting to question even that now. And a little bit of it was the cart. As I was driving the cart, we actually drove in the tournament later on. I'm like, I don't know. It just seems like had it been this cart, I think the cart would have won. But now I don't know what to think. I was so convinced that Fred would have no chance against that, much less Nick. And it was such a lopsided victory for both Fred and Nick versus the cart. I don't know if it makes a difference now. I'm starting to question everything.
Well, we
everything I thought I knew might be wrong.
You need more empirical data. You need one person driving the cart without the bags. See if that speeds it up a little bit. Maybe multiple races.
I wonder if I had done the whole brake. Although it's got the hill brake on those carts too, so you can't necessarily get the engine going or anything going and just pop the brake off and have it shoot out like a rubber band.
Do these carts have the GPS on them and all that?
They have GPS just to keep you out of places you're not supposed to go.
Well, see, this is what I'm thinking though. They can set those up so that if you're approaching a bridge, it limits you to 5 miles an hour. Is it possible that there was a little bit of extra?
We were too close to the tee box when we
You're
started.
not even supposed to have a cart in that part of the golf
Oh,
course.
I didn't think of that.
You're supposed that's golf cart only, and you're a cart path only in that particular area.
That's right.
So give me 2 to 3 weeks to recover, and then we'll do it again.
You'll do it again. Fred won't do it again. Fred won't do it again. Will you do it again?
I'll do it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is going to be like Seinfeld. I choose not to run.
Yeah, Fred. And look, if I were Fred, I wouldn't run again. I proved my point. I beat the cart, and he's been on record as saying he didn't care. He can't imagine why anyone would care, and he doesn't care, so he's not going to do it again. Nick, if you do it again, what measures will you take to ensure that your pants don't fall down?
Maybe tying them. Towards the end, it was they were going down, so I had to pull up.
You know what it reminded me of? You ever seen the movie Blow?
Yeah.
Okay, Tuna, the big guy, Johnny Depp's buddy.
Yes.
When the plane is flying in overhead with the first load of pot that they flew in from Mexico, and he's running after the plane, they're all celebratory, but he can't really run and celebrate because he has to keep pulling his pants up as he's running after the airplane. That was Nick at the end of the race.
Yeah, but Nick did
Tuna.
You led that race for a good 25 yards.
I was beating Fred at one point.
Fred overtook you at the end, but you were in there.
Yeah. I mean, if I had my pants tied up or my shorts, I would have won.
You would have won?
I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Well, imagine, how even worse the beating would have been had Fred taken it seriously and given some thought as to how the sprint went, because he starts upright and he just stays upright. He's even leaning back a little bit as he's running. He doesn't come out of a crouch. It's like, the 3 phases to a sprint. You're low and then you start pumping and that only at the very end do you lengthen your stride and kind of lean back for maximum speed, because that can't be sustained. He just went one phase of running the entire way.
Yeah. And I gotta give it to him. He had gout last week and recovered.
You lost the race to a guy who had gout last week.
You know what?
In his ankle, then he had it in his knee.
Maybe that's the problem. We didn't drug test him beforehand. It gave him an added bonus. Maybe
you think the gout medication is a PED?
Maybe that'll pop him for steroids. Who knows? Could be anything. Nick, you might win this race on a DQ.
Hey, listen. We can do it. We can make it a 4th of July thing, just like the hot dogs.
How was your sickly little ticker after that race? Because Adam 12 was very concerned when we first proposed.
I
this
always
months
get
ago.
nervous when anytime my guy's doing any physical activity for the show. I always get a little nervous.
He cares.
How did it feel?
It took a little bit, calm. A couple of breath exercises, whatnot. But it's fine. It's fine. It's still ticking. So I think I'll be okay.
What are you doing for your cardiovascular health these days, Nicholas? I mean, I know you ski in the wintertime.
Oh, who cares? cares?
Just let's make
What
sure
is he
you're
saying?
doing some hiking or some
Oh,
walking.
he can't hear you. He doesn't have a headphone. He wants to know what you're doing
Jesus.
for your cardiovascular health.
Why do you not have
Nothing.
headphones on?
That's seriously. Why didn't you bring headphones in here?
Oh, I don't know. I just jump. Listen, every time I bring my headphones in,
Yeah.
like they bust
You
my
can hear
balls.
things.
So the one time I don't bring my headphones in, I get my balls busted.
Nick, you have,
I
the guy
know.
was trying
Go
to talk
steal
to you in the
some
other
from
room.
Maz's desk again.
Oh man.
Listen, I feel bad about
Well,
that.
Nick, I was very proud of you yesterday. I'm happy for Fred. It was a very lopsided victory for Fred, as both he and Nick beat the golf cart, and Fred beat Nick barely at the very end. Strong start for you, Nick, yesterday. I was very happy for you.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of the actual golf tournament, I think the winning score was 14 under, and then 13 under. There was one group at 13 under for second place. My team was 12 under, along with two other teams, and there was a third place prize. So they did a card off of some kind to determine who would be the singular third place winner. Whose team do you think ended up winning third place at 12 under? It wasn't my team. It was the team of someone here at the station. Would you like to guess?
I know the answer to this.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
Rick Radzik.
Yeah, it's a boss one.
Oh.
Oddly enough.
Oh, man. This is going to have an air of impropriety to it.
Well, they were
I
saying-
don't know if we could accept.
I saw the midday show saying that Kevin Majori, who was in Radzik's foursome, he's a little bit of a ringer. So
A little bit. Majority's best golfer on the course.
Well, no, I don't think he was the best golfer on the course.
I don't
but
know,
he's-
man. That guy, I asked him what his best round was last year. He said 77.
Oh, those guys out there are shooting lower than 77.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Jesus. All right.
Yes. He's really good, though.
77.
No, Majori can.
Guy produces an afternoon talk show. He shot a 77.
No, I'm sure he's a single-digit handicap if he's got.
He
one
said he was an
established.
8. I think an 8.5.
Yeah, that's
what
really
he said.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good player. But no, Radzik's team somehow ended up winning a sole possession of third place at 12 under, even though there were two other teams at 12 under. Go figure. Technicalities. Whatever. It's fine. Let him have it. He can have it. Radzik and Majori and whoever else. They can have it.
Yeah.
There were the long drive closest to the pin. Blah 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 blah. Chris Wagner won closest to the pin. His prize was a Planet Fitness Black Card membership, and I said, Wags, the last time you did a lot of working out in June, July of the off season, you ended up rupturing your Achilles and screwing up your first contract with the Avalanche. Maybe you should just leave that prize on the prize table.
Mm-hmm.
So he left without taking his prize. It's not going to
Smart.
He's just going to take it easy
Yeah.
this offseason. But the long drive for the women,
Mm-hmm.
Wallach, who ended up winning that?
My wife.
How about that?
My wife was a long drive for the women, but fortunately my team beat hers. So at least I have that for bragging rights. if
Oh,
nothing
you
else.
guys went lower than her
Yeah,
team did.
Went lower than her team.
What did her team end up shooting?
Only one under.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. My team wound up at 3 or 4. I forget which.
All right.
No, we were nowhere close. We were fighting it all day. Tougher on the greens. Didn't do well around the greens.
Well, Brook Meadow was fantastic once again. Can't
Yes.
thank those guys enough. They really, the course was in great shape, and then everything they do for us before, during, and after. So thank you to them. Thank you to the Juice Foundation for being a part. I don't have the official sponsor list here in front of me, but a lot of people helping out yesterday, and thank you to all of them. All right, Mike Dussault from the Patriots.com. He's going to join us next year on Toucher and Hardy. Hold on.
personal situations that are going to keep a couple guys from being out here.
All right, it's Mike Dussault joining us now here on Toucher and Hardy, writer and content producer for Patriots.com. Deuce, always good to talk to you, my friend. What's going on?
Oh, not much. Nice day of mini camp yesterday. It doesn't look like it's going to be quite as nice today here. A little rain coming our way.
All right, so where are we like in the whole schedule of mini camp and everything? But just bring us up to speed because it's been a whirlwind for me in the last few days. What day are we on? How many days are there? What's the schedule?
Yeah, so this will be day 2, and Vrabel said yesterday at the top of his interview that tomorrow they're just doing internal stuff. So there'll be no practice tomorrow. So this is kind of it today until the long break, until training camp. So put a cap on OTAs. So I think we'll round out to like 5 practices we've seen this spring. So, yeah, it's good. Good way to wrap it up, and looking forward to a little vacation here coming up.
So is this like when school gives the kids like a half a day on the last day? They're not going to, it's like we're going to bring you in, but we're not going to actually do anything?
Yeah, I heard they're doing a film strip, which should be pretty good. Don't do drugs or whatever. I think they really. I don't remember the last time they actually did a Wednesday mini camp practice going back a couple years. Of course, last year we had Tom Brady night, so they didn't have practice that day either. So yeah, it's kind of how it goes. 2 days of mini camp.
So one thing that really stood out to me, Mike, from yesterday was Drake May and how he's not just assumed a leadership role. He's going after guys. He's throwing at Christian Gonzalez. He wants to, saying afterwards, he wants to prepare him for quarterbacks targeting him. It just seems like May has seamlessly stepped up, and he'll be one of those team captains when the fall rolls around.
Yeah, he's doing everything you could ask of him. I think what's been most impressive is just the progression we've seen. And I think I was on with you guys after that first OTA practice where he threw some interceptions, which he was asked about yesterday. Explained them a little bit, but. In contrast to that first practice, you've really seen him grow in this offense. You see a growing comfortability under Josh McDaniels, which, is a really good sign. I thought yesterday was the best day of practice we've seen of him, certainly this spring and even going back into last summer. It was a really good day for him. He was efficient, not a lot of balls on the ground, not a lot of miscues overall as a team, which is a great sign at this point. That's what Vrabel's been stressing. Just overall, what can you learn from mini camp where there isn't much contact? Smooth operation, no mental mistakes. There's really been not too many of those. It's a good sign too.
Yeah, I wonder, like, depending on the day, and we've talked about this a lot in the past, Mike, and I know Paul has brought this up, depending on the day and what is being worked on, how much can you really glean from a bad day or a good day for anyone? And like you said, the first time you got a chance to see Drake May this year, 4 picks. All right, was that a day specifically designed for the defense to get something underneath them, and maybe they're working on something that they can exploit from an opposing offense? The days when we're looking at Drake May when he's doing really well are those days when the offense is doing something that the defense specifically hasn't prepared for. I don't know if you can tell from watching, but are there days when it seems to be geared more toward the offense than the defense?
Well, that's what's funny is, of course, me, defense guy, but at the end of the practice yesterday, unfortunately, my partner in crime, Paul Perillo, was not there. So I had to watch a lot of it by myself. I got afterwards and I'm like, where was the pass rush today? It's easy. As soon as the offense has a good day, you start looking at the defense. But I think the way you see Drake going through his progressions, you see the growing comfortability in the offense. It's not like the kind of stuttering in between the reads, which to be expected when you're learning a new offense. So I think there's still some real positivity there. Of course, Vrabel talked about it in length yesterday before the practice about how hard it is for the defense, about they want to be aggressive, but you can't tackle guys to the ground and you can't play through the ball. And there's a lot of parameters on how the defense can play. So you just have to take it for what it is, I think, at this point. And yesterday was a good day for Drake May. You can, maybe we look at, all right, well, were there problems on defense? Not really, but it didn't look at all times like they were going, ears pinned back, really trying to get after it. So we'll see today what it looks like, but I don't think you can take away the positive strides that Drake May showed yesterday.
How does Stephon Diggs look yesterday? How is he coming back from the torn ACL? And I guess, as important, how is he being accepted by his teammates at this point?
Yeah, I thought it was a good sign. He came walking up the stairs yesterday at the start of practice with Josh McDaniels. The two of them were yucking it up. Josh had his arm around him. The guy looks still like an elite athlete. I've seen a few of those in my time watching practice, but even with the injury and the recovery that he's shown, it seems like he's really on track to come back sooner than later. I don't know what the timetable is. You can still see, a little bit him flexing it out a little bit. You can still see that leg quite isn't as, big as the other leg. So he's still working at it. But what I really like is just you see all through practice him talking to guys like Jalen Polk. Jalen Polk's still rehabbing a little bit, so they're working a lot together. But he really seems like he's showing a lot of leadership with that young room, and I think that's really what they needed after last year. And I thought one of the best signs yesterday was, he does some of the drills, but then when they do team stuff, he comes out and Kendrick Bourne popped in, and Kendrick Bourne had a really good day. So hopefully he's raising the level of play of all those guys and can really help that room get over the hump this year.
How important is mandatory minicamp really in the grand scheme of things, or is it just a minor box that you check on your way to when it really matters?
Well, for nerds like me, it's pretty exciting, but I would say, the coaching staff, I think it's about establishing just a baseline so you're ready to go when you come back for training camp in a couple months. But I thought it was great yesterday, Drake saying like, man, I'm bummed we have to leave. Seemed like he's enjoying things and even he's enjoying the process of learning this new offense. And you can see he's starting to hit his stride. It's like he doesn't want to get out early, but I think it is very important for the coaching staff. And certainly, some of the conditioning they're doing, like, how much is this going to carry over when we're playing in 3 months? But I think what you see from Vrabel is a lot of setting the tone. When they're running sprints, he's calling out cadences. He's having Drake call out cadences, working on getting off the snap on time, no false start. So I think you see all these little threads throughout practice that are putting Mike Vrabel's stamp on this team.
All right. Offensive line continues to be a question mark and a concern for everybody. Is there anything that you can learn about the line in these sessions?
A tiny bit. Look, they looked pretty good yesterday. There wasn't a lot of pressure, so you can say whatever you want about that. But I think there's a lot of competition going on right now. There's some guys still rehabbing, like Michael Onwenu. He's still not fully up to speed. The rookie Jared Wilson doesn't look like he's still fully up to speed. So a lot of times when they get into the team drills, you see those guys going over another field to, start to get in, rehab kind of stuff. So it's giving opportunities, guys like City So, guys like Cole Strange. That left guard spot is going to be a place of competition for sure. But I really think if you have it go the way you think it's going to go, most of the spots already. It's just that left guard spot is really the competition where it's going to be. And I'd love to see Cole Strange be able to grab that position. He last year said at this time he was still learning how to walk again. He is a very athletic player. I'd love to see him get a chance and really be able to use that athleticism, because if you put him and Will Campbell together, that's the left side of your line that can really move well. And I think Josh McDaniels could do a lot of fun stuff with him.
What are your impressions of Will Campbell to this point? Obviously, the Patriots' future is really wrapped up with him being able to protect Drake May's blind side. But he's said all the right things up until this point. Yeah. But on the field, how does he move? How do those arms fit him? How does he look?
Yeah, well, he moves excellent. That's his thing. And I think that got lost a little bit in some of the pre-draft talk, was just that this guy is an elite athlete. And that's the thing. It's been such a revolving door at that position, really, I think, since Nate Solder left. And so to see Will Campbell get in there at left tackle, and he's just been there from the get-go in all these practices, it's a great sign. You just feel like the coaching staff believes in him. There's no, let's try him out, let's see how it works. No, this guy looks like he's going to be their left tackle. He's looked good. There's been some he's looked better than others. He's a rookie. That's going to happen. But overall, it's just great to feel like, okay, we've got some stability there. Certainly, he has to prove it. He has to play to a high level to maintain that job and to play to the level that the team's going to need him to at that important position. But it's a great sign. He's been out there every snap playing left tackle. And I think that's where he's going to end up for the season.
Is it at all awkward when his teammates have to help him take his helmet off because his arms don't stretch that high?
Well, what I feel bad for him is just that, the BC kid, Jack Conley, and then the other guy that they drafted from Missouri, Marcus Bryant, are two other tackles who are enormous. They're like 6'8". So standing next to them, you're like, geez, Will Campbell looks kind of small. But then you realize, no, this guy's like 6'6". He's legit size for a tackle. We'll see. Look, it's not going to be easy right off the gate. You got Max Crosby coming into town. So Will Campbell's going to have his work cut out for him, and he's going to need a great summer to get ready for some really tough tests right out of the gate and right through the season.
All right. I don't know how this is going to go, but Wallach has come up with Jaws trivia for you this morning, and I would like to take a shot at it too. You're the guest, Mike, so you will have the first chance to answer. But if you get it wrong or don't know the answer, I have the chance to steal.
All right.
Okay, fair enough.
You ready? Because you're the Jaws expert. How many times have you seen this movie?
I think the last count it was 864.
Come on,
three.
you
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was
that.
All right. I don't know how this is going to go either, but let's see. What was the name of the doctor that was paged over the intercom while Michael was in the hospital?
I'm going to defer to Hardy on that one.
I have no idea.
Dr. Young, how do you not know that?
Dr. Young?
How do you not know that?
I mean, Michael wanted coffee ice cream. Does that count?
No,
for
I'm
anything
sorry.
else?
That is incorrect. That's a negative. Sorry. From what state was the license plate that was pulled from the stomach of the first
Jersey,
shark?
right?
No, Louisiana.
Oh, my God. What's wrong with you?
How did you get that wrong, Deuce?
I'm
Sportsman's
upset.
Paradise, Louisiana. Came up. What day? He came up in the Gulf Stream from southern waters.
Oh,
It's like a whole thing.
I got confused. I got
Wow.
confused.
All right. You want me to stop here?
You know what it is?
No.
I'll
I gotta get
tell
one
you
at
where
least.
Deuce got confused because the Brody
The real
and
Jaws.
Brody and Hooper start talking when they're talking to the mayor about the shark attacks in New Jersey.
Probably.
And that
Probably.
they said it happened before in New Jersey in like the early 1900s. Yeah. All right. go ahead.
Right. Exactly.
All right. That's where he got confused.
All right. A couple more here. What is the name of Amity's harbor master?
Oh, it's Frank something.
Yeah. Jeez, Wallace killing me. I mean, you did your work today.
I don't know. What is it?
I don't know.
Frank Silva.
Okay.
We'll get half credit.
I get half credit.
good?
I get Frank.
All right. Couple more. What is the name of Chief Brody's eldest son?
Oh, Michael. Yeah, Michael.
There you go. That's right. That's easy.
Yeah.
And obviously, at the beginning of the movie, a young woman goes swimming while her boyfriend passes on the beach. She's attacked by a shark and killed. What is her full name?
Christine Watkins?
Yeah, we already gave him this one.
I'm
like
sorry.
3
I know
months
you
ago.
Look, I didn't know that, but not bad. Those are the 5 that I had for you.
Not good enough for me though. I'm gonna be thinking about this all day during mini camp.
The fact that you knew it was Christine Watkins the first time I asked you, that was very impressive. So, all right, well done. Awful job on the license plate out of the shark's
I know.
digestive
Terrible.
tract. What kind of shark was that they cut open?
Tiger shark.
A what? That's just Jaws humor between a couple.
Oh, good. I'm glad we were here for that.
Tiger shark.
Coming up on the actual 50th anniversary. It's June 20th.
Oh,
I
just
know.
looked it up, yeah.
I know. We're supposed to
Big
go
plans this summer. Big plans.
Supposed to go to Martha's Vineyard for a day and go to a meet and greet with the actor who played Alex Kintner. I don't know if we're actually going to make it. All right, Deuce, thanks for everything. We'll be talking to you again at some point, I'm sure. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Mike Dussault there.
There you go.
From Patriots.com. Wow, bad job by him not knowing Louisiana was the license plate.
I'm shocked.
That's a layup. That's a layup.
For you guys? Yeah, I've only seen Jaws twice, I think.
What are you doing?
Total.
How?
I've seen bits and pieces over the years, but beginning to end twice.
I told you when we went and saw the Pops perform the musical score
Right.
to the movie.
Yeah.
This was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right at Symphony Hall, and you just sit there and they put the movie on a big screen, and it's perfect. You can see Keith Lockhart has like this video monitor in front of him with like these counters, so he gets the exact timing right of everything because it's this suspense movie, and the score has to match perfectly with what's on the screen. There were people in the audience I could tell who had never seen it before, like when Ben Gardner, the fisherman whose head pops out through the hull of his boat, there were audible screams and shrieks from people. I'm like, you've never seen this? Have you never seen Jaws?
Wow.
And they were probably wondering, when do we get to see the shark? Because it's almost an hour into the movie before you actually get to see the shark.
The brilliance of Spielberg.
All right. Ryan Johnston has a game that we'll be playing at 8 o'clock, but there's something we need to address before that. I feel bad that Fred's not here for it, but I think we're going to address that next. It has to do with Jordan Hudson. So that'll be happening next year on Toucher and Hardy. Hold on.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
People have been waiting for it. Yesterday it finally happened. Red Sox top prospect Roman Anthony called up from Worcester ended up going 0 for 4 with a walk and an RBI, made an error in the outfield. Sox lost to the Rays in 11 innings last night, 10-8. Game 2 of that series will be tonight. Brad Marchand and the Florida Panthers beat the Oilers last night 6-1. Marchand scoring his 4th goal in 3 games in the Stanley Cup Final. Panthers lead the series 2-1. Game 4 will be Thursday night. The Bruins, meanwhile, will hold their press conference later this morning, 11 a.m., to officially welcome Marco Sturm as their new head coach. Another day off for the NBA Finals. Pacers and Thunder tied at a game apiece. Game 3 not until tomorrow night in Indiana. The Patriots are back on the practice field today. Day 2 of mandatory minicamp in Foxborough. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by New England Recovery Center. If you or someone you know is struggling with substance use, New England Recovery Center in Westboro can help. Recovery is possible. Inpatient program admission is available 24/7. Visit newenglandrecoverycenter.org or call 877-MY-REHAB. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines at 8 o'clock.
You're listening to Touch. music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Inspired us. He certainly inspired Fred. Fred has called him the greatest sports journalist of our time for his selfless work on the Jordan Hudson story. And now others are taking note, so much so that they're trying to do their own investigative reporting when it comes to Jordan Hudson. The latest comes from people at The Athletic who tried to do an in-depth, deep dive, deep background.
Just get in the car and start driving up and down the East Coast, deep drive.
On Jordan Hudson.
Just, you know what? We're driving up to, is it Hancock, Maine? Driving up to Hancock, Maine. That's what we're doing. We're doing that. We're driving to Provincetown.
Okay, so yeah, how would you describe it, John?
Pointless.
Okay, because
that's a good word.
I started reading it and then I ended up skimming it, and I don't know that there's a lot of meat on this particular bone.
It's a long piece too. It's not like
it's Bill Simmons long. This thing. This is ridiculous.
Well, it's The Athletic, so they don't, brevity is not their strong suit, which is good. That's kind of what it's there for. You're supposed to, be able to have the room and space to get into this stuff. But I think once you devote this amount of time and energy into a story, whether or not you find anything out,
we have to do something with it. Like The Athletic, we took money out of our budget to send this guy driving around New England for 2 days, so we have to print something, right?
So what did they find out? Can anybody tell me something that they find out that you didn't know before that you thought was interesting?
The amazing thing to me was he didn't find out anything. The amazing thing to me was he put all these miles on the car and basically, while he was driving, recounted things that we already knew. You know what I'm saying? He just started talking about facts. She's a beauty queen. She grew up in Hancock, Maine. Her parents were fishermen. Her mother owned this shop in Provincetown. She grew up there. And this guy drove to all these places but unearthed no new information at all.
573 and a half miles over 34 hours. Started up in Maine. Here's the first quote of the story. I consider her a supernova, says Dougie Freeman, celebrity hairstylist and owner of West End Salon and Spa in Provincetown. Oh, so we've already made it from Maine down to Provincetown.
That's her former boss.
She
used to work at the salon.
Yeah. This is the one guy who's quoted extensively throughout the show, and throughout the piece. And when I say extensively, he's the only person who is quoted extensively.
No. You're leaving out the person from her hometown up in Maine who collects news clippings,
right?
And says, "Hey, when you print this, can you send me a copy,
right?
So I can put it in the file."
Sure.
So he's got a clips file going.
Apparently, of everyone who's ever lived in that town, which is just an odd Maine kind of thing to do.
Growing up in this town, she saw how alternative relationships work. They can work, says Freeman says of Hudson. I think that validated it for her. So now we're back down to Provincetown again,
right?
For this type of thing. So it's environment. It's nurture versus nature.
Right. So living in Provincetown gave her the idea of dating somebody 3 times her age.
People in P-Town are very resourceful. Many of us wear many hats to make money. Oh.
Interesting. Okay.
So if you don't think of being in a relationship as first and foremost being a money-making enterprise, well, maybe Jordan learned that from her time in Provincetown. I think that does a disservice to people who live and work on a daily basis in Provincetown. Maybe not everybody there is, in relationships for some type of financial betterment. I don't know.
But Hardy, the bookend of this piece is fascinating, which is that the author goes to some unknown place here in Massachusetts looking for the person who is listed as the CEO on her various corporations, talks their way past security into this gated community, goes and knocks on the door, and who comes to the door? Bill. He says, who's this Joshua Christian guy you're looking for? I have no idea. And then finds out it's a reporter and goes, you got a card or something? And then shuts the door in his face. Like that's how this story begins and ends.
Just great
reporting. Randomly runs into Bill Belichick and says, hey, would you like to do an interview if Jordan's not here? He says, you got a card or something?
Belichick examines the card, says he'll have someone reach out. The end of our chance encounter clearly is near. But then I remember the 2 pair of shoes in the front driveway and try extending the scene a few more seconds, all in the hope that maybe, just maybe, Hudson will appear. But attempts at small talk fall flat. Saturday night beckons. Belichick has better things to do than strike up a conversation with a stranger. Saying goodbye, back steps off the porch and into the residence. Politely shuts the door, away from any more prying eyes. So, didn't find out a whole lot about Jordan Hudson in this piece. I did, however, receive a message from someone who thinks they have found out something about the way Jordan is handling things in social media. And this came from Jack McGrath, who said, hi, Hardy. Sorry to continue to bother you via message here. Not bothering me. Anywho, it appears Jordan may be employing bots to respond to tweets. From this profile, you can see is a bit of a tell. So I clicked on some of these tweets that he's talking about where, and I don't know how this works, but apparently you can, if you're social media savvy enough, you can use bots and AI to reply to tweets that are about you. 12, do you know anything about this?
I do. Yes, I obviously don't do it myself, but yes, that is a possibility. And obviously, with AI, it's becoming more and more commonplace, which is why it's important to use AI properly.
Sarge GPT is booting
and
up.
Use products like Sarge GPT
right.
not build bots.
So it's not only just replying to tweets, but it's actually starting tweets too under various accounts.
Correct.
That the programs will set up for you and then start tweeting for you. So there's one called Napoleon Bonaparte. All right. That said, is Mike Florio being paid to keep talking about Belichick and UNC? He releases articles on a regular basis, and it seems to be the same thing. Big revelation today is a random guy emailing the UNC athletics department. The reply, and there's only 3 replies to this in total. The reply in question comes from Anus Jenkins, and it says, for sure seems sketchy, hashtag Team Jordan, hashtag Jordan's version.
Does she choose the names of these
Well,
things?
the AI does that.
Oh,
John.
the AI does that.
And the AI
has
been crawling 12-year-old boys' humor, you see. And that's what coming up with
I'm a
names
rookie
like
at this 12.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Thank you for straightening that out. I appreciate it.
So another reply here, and he says, this is a big tell. The original tweeter, again, Napoleon Bonaparte, is talking about how Florio must be on the take, and there's why is he being so mean. An account, Ol Roy, created about the same time as one of the other replies was created 4 years ago, 2021, just kind of like random celebrity images being used in the profile, not really a real person. It says, thank you, Napoleon Boner. We are all hashtag Team Jordan. And he said, this one mentions the user, but doesn't use the actual hashtag username. He said, this is a classic result of using bots for tweeting. Replying to the original tweet with the poster's username, but without tagging the user.
It's AI, baby.
So for some reason, this is a tell for people who are into this stuff. That's like, oh, this isn't even a real person. This is a bot. This is AI. And who else would be doing this if not Jordan?
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone else out there.
Whether it's true or not, I like to think that it's true.
Especially 4 years ago, started creating accounts that could be used as part of a PR campaign online. So that's what she's up to, and that is the latest. Hopefully nothing else will happen between now and tomorrow because Fred won't be back until Wednesday, and I feel like talking about Jordan without him here is
some kind of blasphemous. Yeah,
it's
weird.
It's really unkind, and it's unfair to Fred because nothing makes him happier.
I'm going to stick up for old Roy.
You think old Roy is a real account?
Well, the pictures on the account are two pictures of Roy Williams, the
Yes,
former
of course.
basketball coach,
Yes.
and there's a lot of UNC stuff on here, but
going back for how long?
Well, let's see. We're back to May. A little more Roy Williams tweets. It's 1,300 posts since July of 2021.
Great.
Thank you, Sarge.
If they're all North Carolina related, going back to 2021,
I think this is just an annoying person from North Carolina.
Okay, could be. All right, you have a game, Ryan Johnston?
I have a game.
I have no idea what this game is. We asked if we were allowed to know about it in the meeting this morning, and we were told no. So
we didn't want you doing any research.
All right, we're going to find out. We're all going to find out together next year. And caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985, gets 4-pack of tickets for the Shoresy Fall Classics return to Boston this fall. You see the cast from the hit TV show Shoresy take on Bruins NHL alumni on December 7th at the Garden. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Caller 10 to the contest line right now, 617-931-0985.
Giolito will get the start. Brad Marchand scored again as the Panthers beat the Oilers last night 6-1. Marchand now 4 goals in the first 3 games of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida leads that series 2-1. Game 4 will be Thursday night. Bruins holding a press conference later this morning, officially welcoming Marco Sturm as their new head coach. A report by the Boston Globe's Jim McBride this morning says Don Sweeney says Chris Kelly, Jay Leach, and Bob Asenza will remain on the coaching staff, and Marco Sturm will be bringing in an assistant of his own. Meanwhile, another off day for the NBA Finals. Pacers and Thunder are tied at a game apiece. Game 3 tomorrow night in Indiana. And the Patriots will have day 2 of mandatory minicamp in Foxborough, expected to be on the field again around noontime today. Team announcing yesterday players will be at the facility tomorrow but won't practice in the final day of minicamp. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Visit the Nines this Father's Day weekend for a great lineup of menu specials Dad will love, like the new 18-ounce T-bone steak. You've got to love the Nines. I'm Ryan Johnston. I'm Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
New England plays here.
Ball down the right side. There's a separation. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Half toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Host on this 90s cruise.
How old
Matt
is she?
Pinfield.
Matt Pinfield will be there. Dave Holmes. And
Dave Holmes. Wow.
So yeah, it's quite the collection.
Was
Robin,
Dave Holmes was he part of the contest? Like
Yes,
he lost out to that guy Jesse, right?
He lost out to Jesse. Everyone thought he should have won. He lost out to
Right.
Jesse, but they gave him a job anyway at the end.
Yeah.
So, Hardy, given that, I mean, you're going on obviously one of the premier cruises,
the premier
cruise. Well,
thank you.
I decided to put together a list of some of the great cruises that are out there.
Okay.
And I'm going to quiz you as to whether you believe these are real cruises or not.
This is great.
We have mixed in some that perhaps we'd all like to go on, but do not actually exist.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with number 1 here.
Okay.
Flavor Town at Sea, the Guy Fieri cruise. Join Guy Fieri, his son Hunter, other celebrity chefs on a Funkalicious cruise through Flavor Town. Guests will have the opportunity to attend outrageous cooking demonstrations, sample out-of-bounds foods, and even play games based on the hit TV show Guy's Grocery Games. Plus, don't forget to participate in the Guy Fieri Look-alike contest, with the winner chicken dinner getting a free gift card that can be used at any of Guy's establishments nationwide.
Okay.
Is Flavor Town and Sea
here in the fridge.
Is Flavor Town at Sea a real cruise or not?
Okay. I'm going to say no, and here's why. For 2 words. Don't forget. You wrote this yourself, and you included the phrase "don't forget" to participate in the Guy Fieri look-alike portion of the cruise. That was the tell. That was the bear trap that you stepped in. I'm going to say not a real cruise.
I've never heard Guy Fieri say the word Funkalicious, so I'm going to say no. I think Hardy's right.
That was your reasoning?
That's my reasoning.
He's never used the word in 30 seasons or whatever it is.
Guy's all about flames on refrigerators and guitars, my friend. Has nothing to do with funk music. It's not a cruise.
Don't forget is a phrase that you would use once you are already on board and you've already disembarked. Not for someone who's trying to pitch the cruise and get people to sign up. So I'm going to say fake.
Flavor Town at Sea is not a real cruise.
No.
Hey, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Got it. Okay. All right. We got there for 2 different reasons.
Yep.
Wallach got it because Funkalicious, not in his,
No.
not his vocabulary.
No.
All right. Next up, Meow Meow Cruise. This is a cruise.
By the way.
Yes.
So I got offered this whole thing because I still do Sirius XM on the weekends on Lithium, the 90s alternative and grunge channel. During the weekend shows, they give us a list of things they would like us to talk about. If you could sprinkle in once or twice or show some of the other channels, some of the other things that are happening on Sirius XM. There is now a music for dogs channel and a music for cats channel. And this is music that according to the liner that they asked me to read and I just goof on, scientifically proven to soothe pets when they're left home alone. So the idea is you just put this on your speaker at home when you leave the house. Music for dogs, music for cats.
They have TV channels like that too.
Do they really?
Yeah. They have dog TV.
Sure,
it's
they do.
like specifically for your dog to watch.
I've never seen. Well, this was all prophesized by the movie Scrooged, when they're talking about adding a couple of mice.
Yep.
Isn't there a dormouse
Right.
in Scrooge?
Yeah.
No, but I always thought there should be. Maybe a detective where the Kojak had the lollipop. Maybe a detective where his gimmick is he dangles a piece of string and gets the cats all excited.
There you go.
To get dogs and cats to watch television. All right.
Well, Hardy, the Meow Meow Cruise.
Right.
This is a cruise for people who love cats. Do you find every time you go on a cruise, you end up sharing photos of your feline friends and talking cats with your fellow cruisers? Then this cruise is for you. Unfortunately, the little critters can't join us, but you can always send postcards home. Aside from amazing onboard amenities, we'll have plenty of kitty fun planned for our guests, like the Meow Meow Meet and Greet, Meow Meow Trivia, Meow Meow Group Dining, Meow Meow Mixer, and a kitty scavenger hunt. Plus, Meow Meow is proud to announce the cruise will be joining up with the Corgi Cruise. Is the Meow Meow Cruise a real cruise?
The fact that they're joining up with the Corgi Cruise doesn't really make sense, which leads me to believe that this is a real cruise. There's like there should be things in here that I don't quite get it, and I have more questions. So I don't think you came up with this on your own. I think this is a real thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a real thing. Joining up with the Corgi Cruise, I understand your reasoning, but this is just wacky enough to be right. I mean, this is insane.
John and I both
to
say
me.
real cruise.
Yeah.
The Meow Meow Cruise is 100% a real cruise.
2 for 2. Is it sponsored by Meow Mix?
No, this is just some random guy who decided to put on a cat cruise.
Where does that cruise leave from? Where does that go? That's what I want to know.
All right, next up, NASCAR the Cruise.
I tell you where it leaves from, John. Catalina.
Hey.
Come on. It's too easy.
NASCAR the Cruise. Don't worry, NASCAR the Cruise doesn't just go in a left-handed circle. For race fans, this 5-night race-centered cruise checks all the boxes on the checkered flag. Meet and mingle with NASCAR legends like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, and Rusty Wallace. Enjoy NASCAR-themed events hosted by none other than TV analyst Kyle Petty. Your voyage also includes live music performances, including the Beach Boys 38 Special and many more. NASCAR the Cruise. Is this a real cruise?
Those are big names they got. So I want to say no, just because you got. I mean, I know who those guys are, and I don't know anything about NASCAR, but I know those names. But that's exceptionally well written. If you came up with this one on your own, Ryan, I'm going to be really impressed. But I'm going to say real cruise.
You know what? I'm going to say no. The Beach Boys and 38 Special on the same bill for NASCAR? I'm going to say, I don't think Beach Boys. 38 Special, yes.
Beach Boys,
Boys, no.
But it is a cruise.
Yeah,
and you
but
want
still,
that
Beach
whole...
Boys is more the Jimmy Buffett vibe. It's not NASCAR.
I tell you what, I'll be.
You know what?
I'm
going to give Ryan credit for making this up and doing a good job. I'm going to differ from him. I say it's not a real cruise.
Who's right?
NASCAR the Cruise is or was a real cruise. 2017, it was a one-time event, but the Beach Boys and 38 Special did indeed perform on the NASCAR cruise.
I gave you too much credit. That's my fault.
All right.
Damn it.
Can you imagine the food on the NASCAR cruise?
Well, it's funny you bring up food.
Oh, okay.
Because our next cruise is the low-carb cruise. Don't fall into the trap of gaining weight during your vacation. This low-carb cruise's mission is to bring people together from all around the world who are either currently living the keto lifestyle or wish to learn more about it in an enjoyable, social, informational, and educational setting. Our hope is that everyone will leave motivated, inspired, and equipped with the tools that they need for a healthier, more vibrant lifestyle. Is the low-carb cruise a real cruise?
I think it is. I'm going to say no, though, and this is just game theory now. We've gone 2 real cruises in a row, so now I'm switching it up, and I'm going to say not a real cruise.
Not a real cruise.
The low-carb cruise is a real cruise.
Whoa!
Winner,
chicken dinner.
Would seem to defeat the purpose of going on a cruise to, eat healthy and try and lose weight. But
Have you been on cruises before?
I have not.
John, you ever been on
I've
one?
never been on one.
Okay. I won't tell the whole story again, but the only cruises I've ever been on, 2 of these. It was when I was in Vegas, and we partnered with an adult film company or 2, and it was Extreme Radio in Las Vegas, and we did the Triple Extreme cruise, and we went from Long Beach to Ensenada and back, obviously, on a 3-day cruise, and these whatever ship we were on was mostly for like old people. It was 2,000 blue hairs and then 50 lunatics. That was our radio station, a handful of listeners, and a handful of adult film stars. The only one I remember being a part of it was Vivid Video. But there were 50 of us that had absolutely lost our minds, and then 1,950 normal people over the age of 60, and we ruined it for all of them. Anytime you came into contact with any one of us, we absolutely ruined that vacation.
All right. Next up on the list, Hardy, this would be particularly up your alley, I think.
Okay.
Husqvarna on the high seas.
This is fake. This is fake. It's fake right now. And I know I've got it right. But go ahead. I want to hear it.
Just because you haven't heard about it
I want to
doesn't mean it's fake.
Tell me about being up on the on the chainsaw
You
deck.
put all this effort into it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Celebrate over 330 years of innovation and passion with Husqvarna on the high seas. In between on-land excursions, you'll learn about Husqvarna's line of chainsaws, trimmers, and innovative robotic lawnmowers, plus try out upcoming products not yet available to the public. Your all-inclusive trip includes presentations and demonstrations fit for everyone from the experienced professional to the DIY homeowner. Husqvarna on the high seas, Hardy. Is it a real cruise?
Even though it may not be, this is a cruise, in theory, Hardy would want to go on. I agree with you.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be all over that.
I'm sticking with my answer as being fake, but again, exceptionally well written.
Yeah.
And now, if it is real, I want to not only learn more about it, but see how I can get myself a job hosting on this thing. Go ahead.
No, not a real cruise.
Husqvarna, by the way, is almost 340 years old.
Wow.
That doesn't even make any sense. For what? What were they?
They started. I think they were a gun company first.
Did they have guns in the 1600s?
Of course they did.
Did they?
I don't know. I don't know if you had guns in the 1600s.
Anyway, so your answer is
not a real cruise.
It's not a real cruise. The Husqvarna on the high seas is unfortunately not a real cruise.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Well written, though. Well done.
Yeah, Brian.
All right, last one.
All right, go ahead.
The big nude boat.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need a description. I think this is pretty good as
In
it is.
between sunny nude beach days at a private island, you'll visit beautiful Dominica and St. Lucia and rediscover some favorites from past cruises. Enjoy the warmth and unique cultures found on each of the tropical islands. Beyond our exciting port visits, you'll discover well over 60 nude experiences on board.
In the nude.
Show off your skills at bear bowling, unleash your voice at bear karaoke,
What?
test your luck at bear blackjack.
Is this a bear cruise or is this a nude cruise or a nude bear cruise?
Or join our bear pickleball tournament.
Yeah, this is...
Each day promises nude adventures and memorable moments. Is the big nude boat a real cruise?
I don't care.
Rite of passage.
Look, can I answer? Can I answer first? I don't care if it's real or not. It should be, and I hope it is. I'm going to say yes, it is.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going real cruise.
The big nude boat is, in fact, a real cruise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
I'm
God.
the son of the Pope.
You have no idea how disappointed I was going to be if you made that up.
That's fantastic. Has it happened yet?
It's a good question. I'm not sure if they
Wow. Okay, so when you say big nude is for big guys.
Big bears.
Yeah, big guys
Right.
who are
Big
going to be nude and playing nude pickleball.
February 9th through February 20th. Wow, it's a long cruise.
2
Big
days?
Nude Boat 2026.
You know what? You get out there,
Wait.
you lose track of time.
Oh, 9th through the 20th.
Right.
Okay, I think you said 19th.
No.
We're just going to sail a few hundred
Just an
yards. out
overnighter.
and then come back. Oh, that's great. All right, big nude cruise. Big nude boat?
And the Big Nude Boat, an 11-day adventure back to Paradise.
Oh, my God. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna research that a little bit.
On the Norwegian Pearl.
All right,
If you go on the Norwegian Pearl after February, bring some disinfectant.
So shake that ass and daddy underwear.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're good. Thank you, Ryan. I think I won.
Yeah,
I think you did.
I think you won.
I think I got more right than I got wrong. Patriots minicamp, that's what we're calling it.
Yes.
Minicamp continues. We have Mike Dussault on earlier, but a lot of people speaking from minicamp, so we'll get into some of that next here on Toucher and Hardy.
Toucher.
Morgan and Gale.
Great.
I was off by 100 years. I don't know.
How did you not know Beretta Firearms is 500 years old?
You know what I was thinking about the other day? What a jerk that guy was at Carmela's dad's birthday party on The Sopranos. When Tony bought him the shotgun, I think it was a Beretta shotgun, and he was so thrilled to get it, and he opens it up, and then Carmela's parents' friends, like the Italian diplomat or whatever he was like, in the consulate there. He's like, I've been to the Beretta factory. They keep all the best pieces there. They never send them out of house. Essentially implying that the gun that Tony bought for Carmela's dad wasn't one of the best ones. Like, what a mean thing for that guy to do. That was terrible. I never really noticed it in the moment, but upon multiple rewatchings of The Sopranos, I really picked up on that. What an awful moment that was.
Hardy, Husqvarna, 1689 was founded as a firearms company. 3 years later, they started making sewing machines. 2 years after that, kitchen equipment and cast iron. Then in 1896, they began bicycle production. Motorcycles followed less than a decade later.
Wow.
Then 1919, lawnmowers. Chainsaws in 1959. Power cutters in 1968.
That chainsaws
commercially available.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
And just getting out there on the beach after you take the the excursion and you disembark, and then you just start cutting down palm trees and you're just laying waste to the native environment.
I would think there'd be a problem with it. I don't know how much alcohol would be served on board, but can you imagine a bunch of drunk people being handed sharp objects?
Well,
try this.
By the way,
couple of limbs lost, no big deal.
By the way, at the golf tournament yesterday, there was a guy on the fourth hole, I think it was, who had the golf cannon.
Oh yeah. Love the golf cannon.
I never seen this before. So this guy had set up his tent there, and again, all the proceeds going to the charity, and I'm sure something to this guy for his time. But for $10, you could, instead of hitting your drive, launch it with the golf cannon, and it looked like a T-shirt launcher.
Right.
Except this thing, you pop the golf ball down the chute. He charged it up with whatever illegal nitrous can he was working with back there, and the guy would stand behind you and say okay, a little lower, finger off the trigger, please. I'm like, okay, whatever. He's like, okay, point it at the green and a little left. All right, now put it against your shoulder. It's gonna have some kick, and squeeze the trigger. It launched the golf ball about 350 yards.
Yeah,
and I mean, almost straight. I was thinking, if this were a little later in the day and there were a little more drinking going on,
there'd be problems.
It's not a question
on nearby
of
fairways.
If it would be dangerous, it would just kill somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be dead if you got hit with that.
Because
the
second hole, the fairway is adjacent. So if you just accidentally put it the wrong way, if you're drunk,
dead.
that'd be bad.
You're just
You'd
dead.
Take someone out. That's true.
That thing was great, though.
Yeah, no, that was great. Unfortunately, one of the balls that I lost was out of the cannon. I lost the ball. I fired it so far into the trees to the right because I saw everyone else in my group shoot left. So
you ignored his advice?
No. He said aim it a little bit to the right. But when it kicked, I accidentally jerked a little bit to the right-hand side.
Oh, you weren't strong enough to hold on to the barrel.
I mean, that's right. The 5-pound thing that I had in my hand.
It's your fault, John.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Mine was the only one that actually touched the green. It rolled off the back.
Oh.
So it's 350 plus.
No, we missed all our green, all 4 shots. And then we had that eagle putt since we all paid for it. Missed that too.
No.
Didn't do well.
All right.
Didn't do well yesterday.
All right, let's get back to the minicamp stuff. Who spoke yesterday? Who had the most interesting things to say?
Well, Drake May. Yesterday was Drake May's time to shine. Yesterday, day one of Patriots mandatory minicamp, they were missing a few people. Matt Collins was missing. Jelani Tavai, who hurt his calf last weekend, is out until training camp. He was out again. Those are the two headliners. But Drake May once again on his game, Hardy, during the competitive periods. And apparently, according to multiple reporters who argue back and forth about these things, 13 of 17, 14 of 18 in competitive periods, whatever. It includes completed passes in the direction of the team's top two cornerbacks, Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, and he went after both of them.
I'm starting to kind of, really kind of find a stride. I'm kind of bummed out we're about to leave, but no, it's fun. Anytime we're going against a great defense, they got good players, two great corners. I tell Gonzo every day I'm gonna test them. I'm not gonna not throw at them or CD. Two of the I think the best corners and one of the best duos in the league. What an opportunity for us to go out there every day and throw against those guys.
You will remember Gonzalez intercepted a pair of passes by May at an OTA earlier this spring. The numbers don't matter. No one cares about the numbers. It's more about the attitude of the quarterback still looking to throw at guys that are good and compete against them. It's just another box you check at this time of year.
Yeah, and last year it was more about like how is he getting in and out of the huddle? How does what's his demeanor? And during the games, in camp too, but once he got into the games, like, does he throw a good ball? We're not even worried about the completions yet. Does he look rattled if he gets flushed out of the pocket? And we saw what he looked like when he was actually keeping the ball and running with it. Things that made him look like an actual NFL quarterback. That was enough. That was enough to get people. It was enough to get me excited last year. I'm like, okay, you've got a guy here who looks like he will be an NFL quarterback, and it's been a while since you've had one of those. That part of it was cool. Now it's getting more into the, all right, it's fine. He can get in and out of the huddle. He's not going to get flustered. He can handle himself. Can he actually do the thing?
And this is where this time of year is somewhat important. You're kind of building, and you hear Vrabel and everyone else say, building a foundation for the future. I heard Mike Dussault say it last hour. You're building a foundation. From what we've seen, it looks like Drake May is taking the appropriate steps to get to where you're talking about. Pressure's on now. Everything he did last year, wow, look at this, wow, look at that. Now things are expected of him, and how does he rise to that challenge? What does he do to do that? The fact that he's going after his teammates and challenging them, that's a step towards leadership. That's a step in the right direction. These are the things that Patriots fans want to see when it all begins to matter later in the summer.
All right.
So that's one story from mandatory minicamp yesterday. The other one is Stephon Diggs, who was out there again. He was limited, but people want to know how Stephon Diggs is progressing. The head coach seems to think he's fine.
Good. Just trying to figure out where everything is and what his role is, and making sure that as we add those situations, the third down, the no huddle, and the red zone, that he's staying up on it. He's working hard in his rehab, and when he can, certain drills he can be out there, and there's certain drills that he won't be. But I think he's engaged, and I like his energy.
All right, so that's one piece of good news from the head coach, but his teammates seem to be on board also.
Yeah, he seems like awesome teammate. He's my next door to my locker mate, so he's one down from beside me. We talk all the time. He's a veteran in this league. He's made a lot of plays, played in a lot of big time games. So just an awesome voice for the receiver room for this offense. Playing some playoff games. He's had some big games. Once he kind of recovers and he's getting back out there, I'm looking forward to be able to throw him footballs, and it's always good having a guy like that in your team.
Once again, still early. Pop Douglas was effusive in his praise. He said that Diggs is a leader. Once again, long way to go. He isn't actually playing games yet, may not be ready to go for the beginning of the regular season, but at least it looks like Stephon Diggs is fitting in, if nothing else.
How limited is he in these sessions? I mean, it sounds like he's out there doing
individual drills. He's out there. Team drills, he's not.
Enough to make me think he would be ready to go at the start of the season, though.
I hope so. You never know at this time of year how much they're protecting him and what his real physical capability is. But Mike Dussault said last hour he looks fine.
All right, so he's your de facto number one. He is the number one on this team. How many teams would Stephon Diggs be a number one receiver on at this, in this upcoming season?
One.
It's not a big number.
I was going to say
probably more than one, but not much more.
6 maybe.
Yeah,
trying to think of who's really depleted at the receiver core who doesn't have a dedicated number one guy. it's nice that he's taken on that, that air and that role as being the veteran for guys like Pop Douglas, and I hope it works. It's just to also have this sense that it's probably still not going to quite be enough, and that's what I keep coming back to when people get excited and they look at what Drake May is doing and they see that he appears to be progressing from last year, and you start talking about win totals for 2025. And the conversation can quickly get crazy. 10, 11. You start talking about playoffs. Like, hold on a second. Who's he throwing the ball to consistently, game in and game out? And if your number one is really your second or third guy on other teams that are also looking and hoping for 10, 11 win seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to relax a little bit.
Well, if you're a Patriots fan like I am, you're at a point now where you got to crawl before you walk. Winning 4 games in back-to-back seasons tends to do that to you as a fan. Stephon Diggs is the only player they've had in a long time on offense that defensive coordinators look at and go, you know what? We might have to pay attention to that guy. Diggs is a guy they haven't had in 3 or 4 years because the Patriots haven't had an offensive weapon that defensive coordinators will stay up late at night game planning to stop. Diggs at least has a chance.
There were guys that would pop, and it's like,
right.
we should have accounted for
Pop Douglas
in that one game.
He's a nice role player, but it's not. We'll figure it out as the game goes along.
Right.
Diggs is a guy you might say, okay, watch where he lines up. I mean, Patriots haven't had a guy like that. So, but I'm going down the list of AFC teams. There aren't a lot of them that Diggs would be the number one. I mean, is he better than Jacoby Myers at this point? Because maybe he'd be the number one in Vegas.
I think he is.
But there aren't many. Or Cleveland, maybe? Who's the number one wide receiver for Cleveland?
Oh, that's a great question.
But this is what I'm saying. There aren't a ton. Jerry Jeudy's in Cleveland. So no.
Okay. No.
So no. But it's a vast minority of teams. But as far as the Patriots are concerned, look at the perspective based on what they've had the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Diggs is a world beater compared to the rest of that room. So, yes, this is I'm not under no illusion. This is all great news. The Patriots are a 6-win team, maybe a 7-win team.
I'm not changing my hopes, expectations. 7. I'm stuck at 7.
I'm not much beyond that in my wildest dreams as a Patriot fan. So good for them to get Diggs. He's at least someone who might scare you. That's all he is.
All right. We're going to get the headlines here from Wallach, and we'll continue here this morning. 617-779-0985, as Gary Tangway likes to say whenever he's filling in over on the other station there, where we do enjoy his work. The phone lines are open. So you can join us here, and we'll continue with Ryan Johnston and Wallach here this morning on Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox yesterday called up top prospect Roman Anthony from Worcester. Made his debut going 0 for 4 with a walk and an RBI. Sox lost to the Rays in 11 innings, 10-8 the final. Game 2 of that series is tonight. Lucas Giolito gets the start. Brad Marchand with his 4th goal of the Stanley Cup final as the Panthers beat the Oilers last night 6-1. Florida leads that series 2-1. Game 4 is not until Thursday. Bruins will hold a press conference later this morning, officially welcoming Marco Sturm as their new head coach. GM Don Sweeney telling the Boston Globe Sturm will be bringing in a new assistant coach, but Chris Kelly, Jay Leach, and goalie Bob Asenza are all being retained. Washington Capitals forward TJ Oshie announcing his retirement yesterday after a 16-year career. Another off day for the NBA Finals. Pacers and Thunder tied at a game apiece with Game 3 tomorrow night in Indiana. And the Patriots will be back on the practice field for Day 2 of mandatory minicamp today in Foxborough. Headlines are brought to you by Sports Etc. Don't miss the annual Sports Etc. goalie sale now through Sunday, June 15th. Save up to 50% off select goalie gear from Bauer, Bryan, CCM, Warrior, Vaughn, and True. Only at Sports Etc. 1303 Mass Ave in Arlington. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. We got more headlines at 9 o'clock.
Because it's a thing.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
No idea what you're talking about.
Here's more of The Thing on the Sports Hub.
Problem section.
That's a problem.
You've lived an interesting life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, the word erratic being used. I should just do a Control F and search the word erratic on his Wikipedia page. But some really good songs, but it was before my time, obviously, for all of us except for Wallach. And then
I think it might have even been before me.
yeah, and he really never had that resurgence because of the, once again, erratic behavior. All right. Chad Finn of the Boston Globe was in here a couple of weeks ago, and then we had a videographer come in here and shoot a bunch of stuff of the show and interview.
A lot of texts to Chad Finn. I'm getting 18 texts from Fred, who's clearly very upset about this.
All right, Nick, can you come in here, please? Can Nick come into the studio?
He's got it.
All right.
Don't bring your headphones.
No, he didn't bring him last time when he was in for a full segment. Why would he bring him in now?
Yeah.
Spur of the moment. Nick, who actually did very well in the race against the golf cart yesterday.
If the race was 25 yards, he would have won.
Absolutely. He beat Fred handily off the line. Fred overtook him at the end, but are you sore today, by the way?
I'm very sore.
Are you sore?
It's getting worse each out.
It
wasn't
kidding.
that bad at 6, 7. It was a little bit worse. Right now, it sucks.
From 140-yard dash yesterday.
Yeah, man.
What is sore?
My leg.
It's hard.
That ticker's going.
There were some comments, by the way, online, and they're not mean. Julia begets Julia on Twitter, talking about you specifically. Someone named Einbein said the best part was Nick's little legs trying to keep that peach moving.
Einbein is a part of the Twitch family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Julia, who's a faithful listener to the show, said he looked cute.
There you go.
Oh, thank
There you
you.
go, Nicholas. There it is.
The comments on Instagram were not kind towards Fred, unfortunately.
Yeah, the way Fred ran, I saw that. That wasn't very nice.
Fred beat the hell out of that golf cart. It wasn't even close. I think he should get a lot more love for his performance.
Yeah,
anyway,
I think so too.
Nick, I asked you to come in. I read the e-paper a lot, and I read most of my Herald and Globe and all that stuff online now.
Yeah.
We were the last people, I think, in our neighborhoods to still get a physical paper delivered up until a couple of years ago. But I still don't 100% trust it. Would you go out and get a physical Boston Globe for us?
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know where to go? Is there a place close
Yeah,
by?
there's one. There's a place across the street.
There you go. There's a $5. Why don't you get yourself a soda while you're at it? Okay.
Oh, you're all harsh.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Look at that.
I'm kidding. Bring me the change. Don't buy anything else other than the paper.
Yeah. Is Chipotle open at this hour?
Take
I
50
worry
cents
about
out for
that.
gas if you want to, but otherwise I
Yeah.
want my change.
I understand. That was really nice. Look at that.
All right.
Look at that. You
So-
got the money clip and away you go. Check you out.
So Nick is going to go out and get a physical Boston Globe to see if the story is actually in the paper today because it was supposed to be. Now, Adam, has Fred really been texting you, asking you if the
yes.
story's in today?
Yes, texted Nick, texted me.
Whoa.
He has theories as to why, and yeah, it's. I'm just now. I'm going back and forth with Chad to figure out what the my theory is.
Has Chad responded to your text?
And I was telling the guys. I was telling the guys this in the control room that. Again, I worked at the Globe, but I worked for Radio BDC. I wasn't in the newsroom, you know, but I have a little bit of knowledge as to how that stuff kind of flows. So my thought was they had us slated for today because it's, Red Sox season. There's not much going on, so there'll be space for it. Yesterday, the Anthony call-up happens, and now maybe the space that they had for us on the sports page is now gone because they got 3 different people writing columns about Roman Anthony.
Just real quick, before Nick gets to his car, because he can't hear anything that's going on right now. The story's not in the Globe today. What should we have him read from the Globe instead?
Tell him your idea. Tell me your idea.
I
like
think
this.
I think it should be a combination of him reading the comics.
Yes.
And or doing the crossword puzzle.
I think we start with the comics. And then we move on to the crossword, and we can see
I
how
can do
much
the
of the
crossword.
crossword he gets done before 10.
Do you think there is any clue in the crossword puzzle that Nick would be able
on
to
a Monday, yes.
Oh,
It's
you know what? He
Tuesday,
has a
but
point.
it's
It's
Tuesday.
but still,
Tuesday.
it's easy enough. but
Okay, I don't want to talk about it anymore because
Okay.
he's
I would
getting in
have trouble
trouble.
with it.
All right.
Now, has Chad gotten back to you at all?
We're going.
All right,
going
so
back
it's
and forth.
just back, not forth.
He had pretty basically has the same thought that I do on this. It's probably they had us slated for midweek, so it'll probably be tomorrow because again yesterday the Roman Anthony call up, so now you've got Pete Abraham and Tara Sullivan and all those folks writing pieces about the Red Sox, so that ends. So there's only so much column space, right? That's how I understand it to be. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like the Athletic where they can write a 10,000 word story
That
about a
you'll
guy
never read
driving
all of.
around talking to like a hairdresser.
I got to give credit to the guy though for I mean I didn't read the whole thing because I kind of felt it wasn't going anywhere. I didn't know he actually got to see Belichick at the end of it.
Well, that was part of the first.
But
that was part of the opening too.
That
Bill Belichick came and answered the door.
Yeah, no, he didn't call Bill by name, but it was clear that it was Belichick. But he didn't. The fact that he ran into him, Ryan, and didn't talk to him, really. I mean, that was the highlight of it. I mean, there was nothing.
Right.
There was nothing else there. That's the problem. You log all those miles on the car, and I understand if you're a reporter, there are a lot of times that you go out and don't come back with anything. You have the best of intentions. I'm wondering how he felt about this particular trip. That you drive to Hancock, Maine, you drive to Provincetown, Massachusetts. There's no direct line. There's no ferry that takes you from Hancock, Maine to Provincetown. It's a lot of time driving around, very labor intensive, and you come back with nothing, yet you somehow still write, 5,000 words about that?
At least.
At least. So, I mean,
It's the Pablo Torre effect, man. People are seeing like all the
yeah, but
clicks and all
Pablo
that.
drops like new information.
Good. Yeah, he delivers the goods every time. This delivered nothing.
You just try and ride those coattails of the greatest living sports journalist. you just want a little something of what he's getting. All right, we'll do the headlines here in a minute, and then Nick will be back with the paper, and we'll see what's in it. If the story about the show is in there today, and if not, we'll pivot. We'll come up with something else. We'll do that next here on Toucher and Hardy.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way.
for crawl space encapsulation before the humidity comes. And don't forget to ask about the Santa Fe dehumidifier. 844-LIVE-DRY or visit premierbasement.net. It's game over for water.
From the Top Your Tire Studios, WBZ-FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox yesterday called up top prospect Roman Anthony. He ended up going 0 for 4 with a walk and an RBI in his debut. Sox lost to the Rays in 11 innings last night, 10-8. Game 2 of that series is tonight at Fenway Park. Brad Marchand scored his 4th goal of the Stanley Cup final as the Panthers beat the Oilers last night 6-1. Florida leading the series 2-1. Game 4 will be Thursday night. The Bruins will hold a press conference at 11 o'clock to officially welcome Marco Sturm as their new head coach. GM Don Sweeney telling the Boston Globe Sturm will be hiring a new assistant coach, but Chris Kelly, Jay Leach, and goalie coach Bob Asenza are all remaining on the staff. Washington Capitals forward TJ Oshie announced his retirement yesterday. Another off day for the NBA Finals as the Pacers and Thunder tied at a game apiece. Will play Game 3 tomorrow night. Patriots back on the practice field for Day 2 of mandatory minicamp in Foxborough. Around the league, the Packers releasing two-time Pro Bowl corner Jair Alexander yesterday. Steelers edge rusher TJ Watt skipping that team's mandatory minicamp as he looks for a new contract. The same for the Bengals' Trey Hendrickson, who led the league in sacks last year. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. With over 50 trucks on the road, because your clogged drain is their emergency, go to johnsewer.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
When breaking sports news happens in Boston,
The news this morning, Marco Sturm.
it happens here.
Former Bruin, now current Bruins head coach. The hiring made official today.
Boston's home for breaking sports news and your flagship station for the Boston Bruins all year long. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an enticing explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
I think Nick has been revitalized. Oh, it's Toucher and Hardy. No Fred today or tomorrow. Ryan Johnston and Wallach is here. And Nick has like this newfound energy and pep after his race against the golf cart yesterday, in which he led Fred Toucher for the first 25 yards of the 40-yard dash.
If the race was 30 yards, he would have won, but it wasn't. The race was 40. So
beat the golf cart anyway.
Yeah.
Barely, just narrowly lost to Fred.
We have a theory that Ryan brought up earlier in the show that I think might be very close to the truth about why the golf cart did not win. And I was sitting there with you, and as soon as the announcer said go, you floored it, and we didn't go anywhere for the first second. And of course, in a short race like that, 1 second is all you need. But Ryan had a very good theory as to why we struggled in the golf cart.
And that theory was GPS based?
Yeah, these GPS devices that are on the golf carts now limit your speed in certain parts of the golf course, particularly when you're not driving in places that you're supposed to go. And so perhaps being right in front of the first tee, that's not you're not supposed to have your cart. Going in there.
And the race was from right in front of the first tee box up to the fairway where golf carts never go.
Right. Usually they would tell you you're supposed to stay on the path in that area.
Yeah, so whatever. It was still a great victory. I'm not taking anything away from Fred or the reason why the cart had the slow start or anything else. He performed much better than I thought he would. I just think Nick as a human boy is performing better now post-race. And even though he says he's very sore from that 140-yard dash, he's already back with the newspaper. Nick, would you come back in here, please? He's actually, look how fast he's moving. That's not even, look at him. He's hustling right in here now. I like this. This is a whole new Nick. All right, Nick is already back with the newspaper. Number one, I gave you a $5 bill for the newspaper, Nick. Where's my change? Yeah. I wasn't kid-
yeah, the change.
I wasn't kidding about the
You
change.
said you could get him a soda too, though.
But then I took.
I think he was kidding.
I took
don't
that
think
back at
that's
the last
true.
second.
No.
Oh, I missed that.
$5 not enough to get both a soda and a newspaper.
You know what? He's right. How much is the Boston Globe if you physically?
$4.
It was $4.
$4 for a weekday paper?
$4.
So how much is the Sunday Globe again? 80, 85? How much is the Sunday Globe?
To take out a second mortgage.
Is it 6 or 7?
God.
I think it's 6.
I think it's $6
on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's still the best deal going in terms of bang for your buck for reading.
Yep.
Because you can read that for a few days.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're going to read every inch of it. All right, so I've already gone through the sports section. Presumably,
Are we there? We're not there? No.
the story about the show would be in the sports section. Missed opportunity is the headline, MIST, as the Red Sox rally, but miscues proved too much in the 10-8 loss to the Rays yesterday, and the photo of Roman Anthony above the fold there. So Red Sox stories, you've got some Drake May down there at the bottom. You've got Kevin Paul Dupont on hockey. Plenty with the Bruins to get Sturm started, as Marco Sturm, I believe, might be on with Felger and Maz later today.
That was the word, is
Okay.
that he may be in studio this afternoon.
I heard during the Red Sox game he's going to be on with them as well in between innings. I believe that's tonight.
Oh.
Might be tomorrow night, but something to look forward to.
But going through the sports section, it's Alex Spear, Red Sox. It's Chris Price on the Patriots Notebook. We got something here on BU Soccer. All right. We got Stanley Cup story. All right. Nothing. So instead, Nick, now that we have this newspaper,
Yes.
I thought maybe
Already spent $4 on this. We got to do something with it.
That's right.
since there's no story written about the show for us to read today, maybe you could read something else from today's paper.
Okay.
Would you please favor us, Nicholas, by reading the comic strip Doonesbury to us?
Doonesbury.
I want you to read
Whoa.
Doonesbury.
Interesting.
And
you have to describe what's going on in addition to.
describe it if you could.
Oh, jeez.
What's going on here? Go ahead.
So in this comic strip, the first block, it's a is it a fisherman? I don't know what's really going on. It's a guy with a hat.
You're describing the comic strip.
Oh, he's a
to us.
reporter. He's a reporter. Okay.
How do you confuse the two?
I'm sorry because I just read the first thing. It says, "Mr. Secretary, am I thrilled our troops in Iraq are publicly disparaging of me? Of course not. In the perfect world, would our soldiers not mind we coordinated daily attacks on them? You bet. But are they free to criticize the Secretary of Defense without fear?
Is this one person doing all of this, or are there people back
John,
and forth?
Well,
Stop interrupting.
He's describing the panel.
My
now,
mistake.
start over, please, Nick.
Well, there's not a lot going on in the panel.
Start over,
Okay.
please, from the very beginning.
So obviously, this is a press room. It's probably at the Pentagon or something like that, and a reporter is standing up and he's about to ask a question, and he says, "Mr. Secretary," and then the secretary says, "Am I thrilled our troops in Iraq are publicly disparaging of me? Of course not." And it's still the secretary. It's like, and he says, "In the perfect world, our soldiers not mind the well-coordinated," I'm trying not to look at you guys, "well-coordinated daily attacks on them? You bet. But are they free to criticize the Secretary of Defense without fear of reprimand? Absolutely not." And then it looks like a soldier. He's wearing a helmet and everything like that. He's like, "Do we care? Good. Goodness, no. This is a total crock. Heavens bitsy yets." What? I even if I read this perfectly, I wouldn't get it. I don't get it. Did I start at the wrong? Am I missing something?
It's the comics, Nick. You read left to right.
You did
just like
great.
you would in an ordinary every day.
Let me have the paperback, please. Hold on. I want to pick out another one for you to read.
Oh, good.
Because that was really good.
Yeah.
That's some quality stuff right there out of Doonesbury.
Would you please read for better or for worse?
Okay,
that's a good one.
You should be able to do this.
And
This
just
is not a problem.
Describe the panels
For
as we're
better
going
or for
through.
worse?
And again, this is
legendary.
It's supposed to be a story on Toucher and Hardy in the Globe on Sunday, and then it got pushed back to Tuesday. Still not here today, so this is what we're left with is Nick now reading the comics
I'm
from the
really
Boston
trying to
Globe
paint a picture.
for better
I'm sorry.
or for worse. Go ahead.
All right. All right. It looks like a dog and the owner. She is asking a dog a question, and the question goes, "Want to go for a walk? Eddie, want to go out? Huh? Outside? Go with mom? Go for a walk?" And the dog goes, "Woof! Wow! Pants! Pants! Woof!" Where's your leash? This is the owner. This is the next,
Next block.
Next block.
Next block.
The owner goes, "Where's your leash? Go get it. Go get your leash, boy. Go get it." And the dog goes, "Huh? Question mark?" And then next panel, it says, "Okay, Edgar, should we go for a little?" And the dog goes, pant, or is panting. Sorry. And then the next panel, it goes, the looks like the owner goes, "Wah!" And then at the bottom, it says, "Zing!" And then the next panel, the final panel says, "Walks are more fun if you rev them up a little." And it shows the mom and looks like the daughter, and outside it looks like the father is walking the dog, but the dog is running really, really fast.
Yeah. That was well done.
It was really good.
That was
Thanks.
really good.
Thanks.
I like that. It was like I was there.
Yeah.
Let's do one more.
Oh, are you sure?
That's a
We
dumb-
don't have to.
That's a
Woof.
dumb question.
Wow. Pants. Woof. He's too.
If you go to the back page here, this is kind of an alternative comic. I used to read these in weeklies. You know, there's stuff like this would be in the Phoenix, but now it's made its way into the Boston Globe.
R.I.P.
Would you please read Zippy?
Oh,
okay.
Not familiar. I don't think I'm familiar with Zippy.
I'm not familiar with any of these.
So you're just gonna have to describe what's going on in the Zippy comic strip.
All right, this
here in
looks
the
like
Boston Globe.
a baby. All right, this is the baby, and the caption on top says, "Stage 1. We can't really tell the difference between our toys and real animals or people. Please don't claw at ma or maul me, Teddy." What? Okay. So it's a baby talking to a bear, and it's the
Woof. Wow. Pants. Woof.
Can't do that. Please don't claw or maul me, Teddy. And the baby is talking to the teddy bear, obviously. Stage 2, next panel.
This isn't Zippy. You're not reading Zippy.
Yes, this is Zippy.
Give it to me. This is this one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Questioning. How can you question that?
Go ahead.
Stage 2, next panel.
Stage 2.
Stage 2. We can tell the difference, but we still treat our toys as if they are alive. If I could, and this is a now a grown-up holding a toy with a baby carriage. If I leave you in any parent's room, will you tell me what they're talking about? Stage 3. Oh boy. Stage 3. When we play baseball, we think the ball has feelings. And it shows this individual with a polka dot dress swinging a bat, and the person is saying, "I can't bring myself to hit this ball.
I can't do anymore.
No. Let me finish. Hold on.
He came so far. He came this far. Let
It
him
may
do
contain the spirit body of celebrity fitness guru Richard Simmons. Stage 4. One more. One more. Stage 4. We collect bottle caps in order to ground ourselves in reality. And it shows a guy looking at a bottle cap with a little like magnetic thingy majiggy. And he says, "Wow, this what? This what does that say?" I have no
Sound
idea
it
what-
out, Nick.
Stage 4.
Spell it for us.
What does that say?
Spell it. Spell it. What does it say? Spell it. Turn it down. Turn it down a little bit. Spell it.
CHOKOLAS. Coke. The Skull Royal Super Fizz cap could put my kids through college. Coca-Cola. Does it say Coca? It does not say Coca-Cola, but I think that's what they're implying is Coca-Cola, and that is it. And
Excellent. Good job, Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank
I hope you enjoyed,
Just
everyone.
had something to entertain us as once again this is a story about the show. Not
I can read more.
on the paper did. No, that was really good. Okay. That was really good. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for going out and getting the paper. Thank you for sharing your reading of today's comic strips with us from the Boston Globe. I was going to have him do the crossword, but that just, I mean, come on.
Well, we could save that for tomorrow if we get bumped again.
Okay, all right. That you'll have a Wednesday crossword
There
to
you
work.
go.
They get increasingly more difficult as the week goes on.
We'll start him on it right at 6 and see how much he finishes by 10.
Great idea. All right. Email segment and the stack still on the way here this morning on Toucher and Hardy. Hold on. Just looking at something here for the U.S. Open this week. The 8th hole is a par 3, 289 yards is one of the distances it can play. And the yardages will change based on where the tees are placed. But 289-yard par 3.
Even for the big hitters, that's a pain in the ass.
Well, it's a pain in the ass because you got to. I would assume bringing something in high and get it to land.
Yeah, that's just
stop.
it. I mean, obviously, 289 is no problem to drive for a pro, but then to actually make it land and stop it, that's a significant problem when you're hitting the wood, right? I don't want to get too golf involved here.
No,
I don't want to turn everyone off, but that's,
A neighbor of mine is very much into golf, and he texted me the other night. He said, if you're home, turn on the Golf Channel right now. So I was home, and I turned on the Golf Channel. I expected to be, Jack Nicklaus, fighting a crocodile based on the urgency of his text. It was an hour-long special, like on the history of the U.S. Open. Not exactly, appointment viewing. Oh, you have to watch this in the moment. But I did sit down and watch it. And they didn't start tricking up U.S. Open golf courses until like 1950, 1951, something like that. It was like right around that time when they decided we're going to make these really, really difficult for these guys to play. And they asked one of the organizers, and they said, is it your intention to embarrass the greatest players in the world? He said, it's not our intention to embarrass these guys. It's our intention to find out who they are. And I think there was like a double meaning, like, A, who are the best players, and B, all of them could be considered the best players just by virtue of making the cut to get in the U.S. Open, but now we'll find out who you are in terms of the person based on the conditions. And is it unfair? Is it ridiculous? Yeah, every once in a while, the course gets away from them. It happened at Chambers Bay when they couldn't putt on the greens, and
tabletops. Those
yeah,
things,
it was just.
yes.
I mean, they couldn't stop, and it happens every once in a while. But this is something else that got mentioned yesterday. For the first 2 days of the tournament, it won't even be that bad because they have to keep the rounds moving. They got to get these guys around the golf course. They can't have everyone out there playing a 6-hour round, hitting multiple shots out of the rough and then putting on greens where they can't get the ball to stop. So once the cut is made after 2 rounds, that's when it really ramps up. And the rough is is 2 days longer at that point, and the greens will be even faster on Saturday and Sunday. And that's why you see U.S. Open scores sometimes, as it happened at Brookline here a couple of years ago. Some guy goes out there and shoots like 4 under the first day. And for the first couple of days, the course might be gettable. And then on Saturday and Sunday said, that was just to weed out the riffraff. Now, for you boys who are left, now we'll see who's really got what it takes, and the course gets even tougher.
So the USGA has the course handicap calculator.
Yeah.
For Oakmont Country Club playing from the championship tees. Course rate, Hardy, this will mean something to you. Course rating 78.1. The slope is 150.
All right, in English, what does that mean?
So a par 70, a person with a 15 handicap is given 29 shots. Target score in a par 70 would be 99. So if you are a 15 handicap, which is not a bad golfer.
No, it's
like like for an everyday person,
guy who shoots in the mid to high 80s, right?
Yeah,
right around there.
Yeah, so you would be hoping to break 100.
Okay,
so you're basically getting an extra shot on every hole.
So what is it at the Masters? I'm wondering what it is because
I don't know that Augusta National has an official course rating or slope rating because they don't. That's a private tournament.
I know, but I keep people go on and on about how impossible it is to play there, and if you're a normal person, wouldn't break 120 and
I don't know.
So
but the rough isn't thick at Augusta National.
Okay.
If you keep it in play, I think you could a 15 handicap might be able to break 100 at Augusta. Maybe not from the back tees.
So
but
according to golf.com, the Masters tees would be roughly a 74.8 141 slope. So significantly easier than this is set up.
All right. Okay. One quick question. I had someone ask me at the event upstairs, the charity, whether or not how many free rounds you got because we're going to be at the Travelers Championship next week.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
We're all going to be there Wednesday.
Yes.
And the question is, how many free rounds of golf have they given you? Because you are really gung-ho to go.
Zero.
Okay.
I don't get any free rounds. What do you think I get to go play TPC because of this?
Yes.
I've played TPC Boston for media day events where a bunch of people
with
are
our
there.
former boss.
Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, that's just like media day stuff.
So did you? So not at this event.
No.
Okay. All right.
John, it's for the love of the game.
Listen, don't yell at me. Yell at the person who came up and asked me that question to ask you.
Couldn't get in the Pro-Am, huh?
Never even invited.
Oh boy, you okay with that?
I attended the Pro-Am before the Deutsche Bank one year, and Ken Casey of Dropkick Murphys was playing.
America's guest.
He's
Yes.
a very good golfer.
Yes.
And one of his buddies and it was in a group of us who were kind of like following along and watching Ken play. I forget the pro he was playing with. But Ken, who was, kind of short, stocky guy, one of his buddies with a very thick Irish accent kept heckling Ken from beyond the ropes and saying stuff like, "Is that Ian Woosnam out there? Woosy, come give us an autograph for the kids, would you?" Ken's like looking at him. So at one point, Ken hits his shot a little too close to the ropes, and the guy steals his putter out of Ken's bag and goes running off into the woods with it.
Oh, jeez.
Meanwhile, Ken's trying to, play a real round of golf in the Pro-Am and, not embarrass himself, and had chased the guy down to get his putter back. That's, it's a good time. I would like to participate, but never been asked.
I think they should have asked you.
Email segment here, which Ryan Johnston, once again, can participate in.
Yeah, but not a lot of negative stuff comes Ryan's way.
And he doesn't get a lot of emails
good
on his
at what he does.
His BBGI account.
Right.
On his 98.5 Sports Hub
as we
account.
discussed at this time yesterday, my email is not on the list of email addresses posted on the website.
All right, well, here's a better question. Do you get negative feedback on your play-by-play calls? Do people criticize you online? Because I haven't seen any of it.
I don't really look for it. So,
well, not whether you look at it or not. I'm just wondering if anything you happen to bump into something like that.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. We have a ringing endorsement by more than one person on Nick's reading of the comics.
I am absolutely floored at the number of responses.
Can this be a weekly part of the show? It's awesome. Nick needs to do this every single week. Can Nick please read the obituaries next? I like that one.
So you have those kind of benchmark segments on a show. So perhaps
it should be 9:20.
Nick's daily reading of the Doonesbury comic strip. Can we?
No, I like
You
the
wanna read the
obituary.
funnies?
I like the obituary one the best. Can we have him do that at 9:20 tomorrow?
I used to have
the
to do
email
that.
segment.
You had to read the obituaries on the air?
My first radio job when I was working in North Dakota, we had a daily
I remember this
hymn of the day.
That's right.
And it was sponsored by the local funeral home. And so I think it was like 10:20 or something every morning as I was doing midday shift, you would read the sponsorship. You would then read the town obituaries. And here's when the visitation hours, so you can go and see Agnes at the local funeral parlor, and then you would play the hymn of the day. That we just do that every single day.
Wow. I remember you telling that story.
Yeah.
I still don't believe it. That's amazing.
Those obituaries can be lengthy too.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was more like of a the funeral parlor used to send them directly to us on the fax, so it was more of a slimmed down
condensed-
version.
Oh, okay.
It was just it's like
Was it the whole thing like survived by her loving husband of?
There was a little bit of
38
that, but it would be
years?
like Agnes Bjornson of Minnewaca, North Dakota, passed away at the age of 112, and she survived by 14 grandkids and 112 great grandkids, and if you want to go and pay your respects to Agnes, it's at 4:00 this afternoon.
So you had that gig. Both Fred and I did a similar job. Mine was on an AM country station.
That's what mine was.
Okay, and mine was the Smart Shopper Show, where we would get trade from businesses that advertised on the radio station, which we would turn around and sell on the radio. I'm not even sure if it's legal, but for an hour every day from I think it was 11 a.m. to noon, I would have to drive across town and go to the AM 1320 Classic Country and sit there. And we had one 2-minute break in the middle of the show, but the rest of it was a 3-ring binder. All right, to start on today's Smart Shopper show, we have a manicure from Lansing Nail Salon. Normally $10 can be yours for $5 right now on the Smart Shopper show. Turn the page, go to the next one. And it was me and a co-host, and we'd sit there and have to fill an hour of trying to sell stuff.
Jesus.
And there wasn't an hour's worth of product, so we would have to talk about it. So that's a really good deal for a manicure. Is that what you normally pay for a manicure, Leslie? Well, Rob, sometimes I'll pay $7 or $10, but $5 is a really good deal indeed for the Lansing Hair and Nail Salon. Once again, blah, 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 blah. 1 hour. So Monday through Friday.
When I filled in on the FM side of we have an AM FM duo. So when I got the bump up to fill in mornings on the FM side, you got to host Swap Shop.
Okay, I think that's what the one that Fred did was called Swap Shop.
Swap Shop was essentially Craigslist on the radio. So people would call in
only to trade stuff.
People would call in and would offer up either free or for sale items from around the house. And so, Bob would call up and offer up, I've got a used tractor tire, low mileage. It's available now for $50. And he would give their phone number out on the radio, and you could call Bob and negotiate the tractor tire.
But would people sometimes call in looking for an item?
No, you had to have something that you were offering up for sale or for barter or for or for giveaway.
Okay, because that would be fun if there were people actually looking for items too. But
you would get a call like, "Hey, what was Bob's number again? Because I really need that tractor tire."
So and again, my bump up was to weekend mornings on the FM. But I only got to talk one of the 2 days, I think, on Saturdays. On Sundays, I was just playing syndicated programming, and it would be like the Garth Brooks, interview that was sent to us on either a reel-to-reel or a CD.
Oh, the reel-to-reel.
Reel-to-reel.
Yeah. So I would be playing the tape, and Garth Brooks is sitting there talking at 6:30 on a Sunday morning about his album or something, and the phone would ring there in the studio. Hello, WILS. Yeah, can I speak to Garth, please? I'm like, you think Garth Brooks is in Lansing, Michigan at 6:30 on a Sunday morning? No, you can't talk to him. This is on a tape. I don't even know if it's really him. Goodbye. And if I had been
listening.
more interested in keeping the job or having the job, I would have done something with it and pretended to be Garth Brooks. But
I got to babysit a reel-to-reel polka show called Bob Becker's Old Time Variety Show, and 90-minute show of polka music every Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'd fire up that reel-to-reel and sit there.
Sunday morning oldies.
North Dakota again?
Yep.
Reel-to-reel.
Yeah, all these are all that same job.
Sunday morning oldies, the Duke of Doo-Wop, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m.
That was yours?
Sunday morning. That was mine. 5:50 a.m. WICE, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Wow. Duke of Doo-Wop, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. every Sunday morning.
Did you ever fall asleep while you were manning one of those in the studio?
Yes, of course you did.
Yeah, I fell asleep doing the overnight in Detroit and playing the reel-to-reel public affairs show, and someone had left like a camping sleeping mat in the studio, and I laid down on it and closed my eyes and woke up, and I heard the
happened more than
of
once.
the tape that ran out. It had been dead air for a half an hour.
Anybody notice?
No one.
No.
Nope.
No one. That was Detroit. That was big market.
Right.
No one knew. No one cared. Another email on Nick Hardy. True profile encouraged is today, displayed by you, pivoting from the Globe story that didn't run to making the most out of the paper. Number one, having Nick read is an adventure every time. And number two, lining the studio with the funnies is very dangerous with John around. It's like putting an open toilet in front of someone that is dying to relieve themselves.
I didn't think of that angle. That's a good point. It's a good point.
Please keep this segment. Sounds like Floyd Mayweather trying to read a Harry Potter book. Okay.
We're going to read the funnies.
David Lee Roth read the funnies after he got. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't want to remember that.
We're going to read the funnies.
But it happened.
You want to read the funnies?
Yes.
And there's a picture of an old man with a Martian.
Unbelievable.
And then we have Marmaduke.
Radio executives are like, put this guy on the air. He's going to kill it.
The dog is looking at a puppy, and the lady says, don't get any ideas.
Killed an entire radio station.
Killed
Probably more than one.
Oh, he killed
50, 100 radio
killed a lot of
stations.
them. How in the hell are you people in journalism? I know that's a stretch. And not know Doonesbury and Gary Trudeau. I know who Doonesbury
We
is.
all know who Doonesbury is.
And Gary Trudeau was married to Jane Pauley, wasn't he?
Is that right? That I didn't
believe
know.
you're correct.
He was married to somebody
Wow.
famous, yeah.
Yeah.
We do. It's just that Nick doesn't.
No,
That's
Nick
what
has
makes
no
it
idea who
That's the
Doonesbury
point.
is. All right. Wonderful. We'll do the stack.
Still is married to Jane Pauley.
Oh, very good.
Still.
Happy couple. Ryan has to leave. He's got Marco Sturm to attend to.
Marco Sturm, is he on the program this afternoon or not? Did we confirm
I think
that?
so. I think he's on with Felger
Okay.
Mass later today.
I don't
But
wanna promote
you're going
it.
down to the Garden to.
Gonna be, got to get over to the press conference.
All right. So headlines here
All right.
from Ryan, and then he'll take off. But John and I will be here for the stack coming up next.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented. You're thinking, what could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Dutcher and Hardy.
Spoke with
running back, and Craig T. Nelson, the head coach, was like, we're too quick for him on the edges. We'll just bottle him up. Point of attack.
We're just going to stuff him up right there at the line. And if they had Georgievich on the outside, if they tried to get someone around on the outside, and they'd stop him there.
Georgievich played the ball, not the man.
Right, and it worked. It worked. They had the game won. All they had to do, they could have taken a safety on the final play. And still won the game.
Problem was, Rifleman couldn't handle the snap in a driving downpour with the field a mess. Fumble in the end zone.
Well. Okay, was there a problem with the snap, or was it when he handed it off to Salvucci?
Oh, good point. It could have been one or the other. I've forgotten at this point. I have not seen the movie in a while.
The guy who plays Salvucci called in to Zolak and Bertrand.
Did he really?
Well, he's called in many times over the years, but I think it was Friday.
Does he live around here?
He's from Somerville. His name is Paul Karafotis.
How about that?
And he's on Tulsa King now. He's been working on Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone.
Uh-huh.
But I think he was like best friends with James Gandolfini before Gandolfini died.
Didn't we have an intern named Salvucci over at BCN? You remember Salvucci? You used to fire him across the studio in the rolling chair.
Not his real name, though, I don't think.
Anyway, he was a great guy. I liked him. Rich was his name. Yeah, we called.
Was it?
We called him Salvucci.
Was that his real name?
Might have been.
I don't know.
He's a good guy.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, that audio you're looking for, it's in the top.
Okay, good. A couple of things to get to first. You got an NFL.
Couple of
tidbit for
things.
us?
Yeah, mandatory minicamp starting across the league. If you didn't start yesterday, like the Patriots, you're starting today. Best defensive player for the Pittsburgh Steelers, T.J. Watt, not at mandatory minicamp. Trey Hendrickson, who led the NFL in sacks last season, not at Cincinnati Bengals mandatory minicamp. And Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver number 1 for the Washington Commanders, not there either. All three entering the final year of their contracts. All three want new deals.
Okay, so I heard about what was going on in Cincinnati yesterday. Is that new this morning for Watt in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Okay.
Brand new. They weren't sure whether or not he was going to show up, but, I mean, Watt's 30 years old, Pittsburgh, who is in a – Bert Breer sat here last Friday, and he told us on more than one occasion Pittsburgh's in win-it-now mode. They have about a year or two here, which is why they brought in Aaron Rodgers. Not having T.J. Watt, not a good thing. That is the last thing that Pittsburgh wants, is to not have T.J. Watt. But, again, he's near that so-called expiration date. He's past his top form, you would think. He's 30 years old. So what kind of a contract do you give him? Big problem for Pittsburgh.
All right. One story I wanted to get to here comes from an unlikely source. Nick Hexum of 311. He posted this on social media.
Chill.
You're going to have to play the audio for me. I don't even have it pulled up in here. If you can play it from in there, that'd be great, unless it's I have it.
Oh, really? No, you should have it on your news boss, you know? I can play it, though. I'll play
go ahead and
I
play
just
it for me,
Go ahead. Here you go.
All right, thank you.
All right, Calabasas, we have a problem here. This corner is dangerous. Here at Mulholland and Old Topanga, this is a blind corner where cars get lost in this curve back here, and it's made so much worse by these bushes. I'm inspired by my daughter's Girl Scout acts of good deeds, like picking up trash and stuff, so I figured, yeah, I could call the city. Who knows how long that would take? Who knows how long I would set on hold? Why don't I just get in there and get it done?
And now in the video, he's got pruning shears, and he's going after these.
Let there be light.
Big...
Look at that. Much better sight lines. Mission accomplished.
I got to tell you, for a band that we make fun of quite a bit, what a job he did on that corner. They're right there at the corner of, what did you say, Mulholland and Topanga out there in L.A.? That is right up my alley. You know what? I call this city, do all this stuff. Just get in there with some pruning shears and take that down.
Have you done that? Have you actually been on a street corner or been somewhere? You know what? I can handle this problem. We're not going to call the town. You know what? This line needs to be freshened up a little bit. Right here on the side of the road.
Okay, there's a strip of land on our street.
That red no parking zone isn't red anymore. It's faded. It's pink. Honey, where's the red paint? I'll be right back.
No, I've never painted anything before.
Okay.
There's a strip of land on our street that technically doesn't belong to anybody, but needs to be maintained.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of my neighbors has a lawn service, and they'll do it, I would say, 75% of the time. But the other times, I'll get up there with the mower and the line trimmer and take care of it, knock it back because it becomes unkempt. We've taken turns maintaining that area. You want to know why, John? It's the right thing to do.
I'm assuming with the snowblower, you've taken care of things other than your property?
Please. I go all the way up the street. Sometimes I don't know where to stop.
Of course you do.
I do it for the mail truck.
Man of the people.
I do it for Stevie. He wants to get close to the mailbox.
Stop it.
What?
Stevie?
Stevie, our mail carrier.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good. Ryan Johnston will be back in with us tomorrow, as Fred won't be back until Thursday. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.
Talk to you tomorrow. Toucher and